champions! Champions of Europe finally! History made in Istanbul! The treble complete! The greatest story in club history has ended! And what a final chapter!
Hello everybody and welcome back to Typical City. Carabao Cup action tonight. Are you excited? Are you just hoping we don't get injuries? Are you excited about the team, really? Because I think Pep has found a nice balance there. So I do want to get straight into the team news because there is some interesting players that have been thrown in straight into the mix, really. Just bear with me while I get them up. Lewis and Sergio Gomez, those two in particular, I stated in my preview, there's no way those two are going to be playing in either fullback position, as in left back and right back. I argued whether they would even be on the same starting 11. I'm glad to see that Guardiola's playing, which must therefore mean Gomez is pushing forward. How far forward, we don't know. My predicted starting 11 is a bit different than the Sky Sports and BBCs of this world, who've predicted Grealish to be out on the left. That may well be the case, but if that is the case, we are doing a totally different system, because that will be a very flat, it's almost mimicking Newcastle's system, which is 4-3-3, and it will just be a flat 4-3-3, which doesn't encourage Lewis to go forward, because lately we've been having a winger in front of our fullback, one of the fullbacks, and the winger that's in front of the fullback that's given license to go forward is asked to tuck inside, invert in other words. But yeah, the starting 11 is as follows: Ortega in goal, Lewis, Akanji, Ake and Gvardiol. Gomez, Calvin Phillips stepping up to the plate. Big Calvin, come on, mate. You got to get behind him. We've got to get behind him tonight. Because it's time. We've no other option, so we have to get behind him. There's no point getting on his back right now. Kovacic alongside him. Oscar Bob, first senior debut for him, so good luck to Oscar Bob. I've already seen Pub G in the gaming. Bob the Builder, can he fix it? We don't need it fixing. We do not need it fixing. This team is absolutely perfect. We do not need it fixing. But come onto the pitch and do your thing, Oscar Bob, and maybe you'll find a place in the first team. Grealish on the other side, and it has to be Alvarez up top. So once again, I got my predicted starting 11 completely wrong for Manchester City. Normally I get the away team right, but with it being the Carabao Cup and Newcastle having Champions League football to worry about, I've got that horribly wrong as well. So it's been a marvellous prediction for me so far. Pope is the only one I think I've got right. Isak as well, I got that right. And Tonali, I got that right. Everyone else wrong. So 3 out of 11, pretty woeful. Pope, Livramento, Lascelles, Dummett, a target are the back four. Hall is someone I've definitely had an eye on. Ever since he came to the Etihad for Chelsea last season, he was good. He was really good. Can't finish to save his life, but his ability to beat a player, his power for such a young lad, he's going to be one to watch tonight. And another positional sense from Sky Sports and BBC is putting Joelinton left wing as part of the 3-3. I think Lewis Hall's going to be playing left wing. But to complete the starting 11 is Hall, Millie, Tonali, Murphy, Joelinton and Isaac. So Joelinton has gone front left according to Sky Sports and BBC. I think Hall is going to be playing there, more of a left winger, like Anthony Gordon's position effectively. But the bench is extremely exciting. For once, Manchester City's bench, certainly when I say for once, I mean this season our bench has looked at the absolute bare bones. Looks very thin so far this season. But tonight, thanks to the rotation, we've got an extremely powerful bench. The two goalkeepers, of course, Edison, Carson, Walker, Diaz, Haaland, Doku, Nunes, Foden, and a debut for Hamilton. Good luck to him. Hopefully he can get some minutes. That'll be very, very nice. The same can be said about Newcastle, really. Their bench is pretty strong as well. Trippier, Shah, Gordon, Richie, Karius, Manquillo, Almiron, Anderson, and Guimaraes. So I think it's expected. I'm glad Newcastle have rotated as well, because I think we were going to get a beating. You know, if they went full strength, we're going to get a beating, because regardless of the fact that it's Manchester City versus Newcastle, I do think Newcastle have a little bit of an imposter syndrome at the minute, where they don't seem to have that confidence going up against a bigger team. Where tonight it could have been like they could have smelt blood. Knowing our injury problems and Rodri's suspension, of course, they could have smelt blood and they could have gone for it, gone for the jugular tonight. And thankfully they haven't. So it could be entertainment-wise might drop a few notches. We might not have the same level of entertainment that we're used to, but I'm hoping it can still prove to be a good game, and it's exciting to see the youngsters. Quite a few of you in the chat so far. Good to see you. Vinny, if we get to the quarterfinals, who will stand in for Pep as manager for the night? I imagine Juan Malilo will probably do that, but this is the problem. This is the dilemma we're in, isn't it, Vinny? I mean, if we get to that stage, what do we do, really? It was Liverpool a few seasons back, wasn't it? They had to send 2 teams in totally different directions. And obviously we're going to prioritise the Club World Cup because it's a tournament we've never won. We've never even been in it. So, I mean, the opportunity of a lifetime, even though the opposition you go up against, we should be favourites. We are favourites to win that. Of course we are. The Champions League is the bigger tournament out of all the other continental tournaments that we'll be going up against. The winners of those tournaments will be going up against. But, you've got to factor in the League Cup. I want to win the League Cup, I mean, imagine winning a quadruple. Imagine. I just don't want to write this off. I've seen a lot of City fans write this tournament off, and I think Pep has found that balance. But you're absolutely right, Vinny. I don't know what we're going to do in that situation. I have no idea what we're going to do. We probably do have to pick a lane, don't we? Pick a lane, stick to it, and I imagine we're going to pick the Club World Cup. So it almost makes this game like, what's the point? Doesn't it, really? It does make it like, what's the point if you're going to write it off, but if ever there was a manager in the world that could come up with a tactic or some sort of ploy to find a way to get involved and progress in both tournaments, it's Pep Guardiola. Come on, he can do it. He can do it. Maru Gomez to step up. Good to see you in the chat. Absolutely. I'm hoping he's not anywhere near that defence. And Guardiola being on the pitch, I like to think he's not. That's my worry, is how far back is Gomez. Going forward, I'm quite happy. I like to see him, and he stepped up. He came on. Who did he come on? Was it Fulham? He came off the bench and put in a really good performance. It was a little cameo, but brilliant. Really, really good. Lewis as well today. He's had very few minutes. Last season, I felt like he was almost, he was like a very good fringe player. This season, he's almost, in terms of minutes, in terms of the player himself, maybe not so, but in terms of minutes, he's almost gone back to that if we need him type, very, very low-end safety net type academy player. He's gone back a little bit in terms of minutes. Not in terms of his progression, because we haven't seen him play, but in terms of his actual time on the pitch, he's not been getting the same minutes, has he? And I think Walker and his new role, bombing it down that right wing, is probably a lot to do with that. But Jeff in the chat, thanks for the super chat, mate. Cheers for the 2. Afternoon, my friend. Hope your son did well Saturday. Mate, he can hear me probably as well. I think it was 23-0 they lost. First ever game. So I wasn't there. 23-0, it's like, referee, call it off. Throw in the towel. 23-0. Like, Jesus Christ, I felt for him. But he's only 6, so don't be thinking he's some future superstar. But I mean, there was a 5-year-old that turned up, and apparently he was too young to play, and he was a good player who couldn't play, so it was 5 against 5, and they got battered, basically. So thanks for your support, though. I'm going myself this Saturday, so I'm looking forward to seeing him play. Hopefully it's not as bad as that. Maybe get a goal. That'd be nice, and don't concede 23. Darren in the chat, good to see you, mate. Evening, good to see you, Darren. Hope you're doing well. Who the hell is Bob? It's Oscar Bob with a double B, Kyra. But yeah, he's a youngster that's come through, playing, most likely going to be playing on the right wing tonight. If you've never heard of him, bit of a wand of a left foot, came on the other day, got a nice shot away. He only had 4 minutes to do it, but he got a nice shot away. Coming off the bench, hopefully he can get some genuine minutes in the next few games and maybe grab an assist or a goal. That would be nice. Lachelle Blue, good to see you. Hi Blues, waiting so long to see Jack Grealish in midfield. That's another point. Yeah, I've put Jack Grealish in my starting midfield, number 10. I could be totally wrong, but if that's the case, I'm excited. I'm really excited. BBC, like I said, BBC and Sky Sports haven't done anything like that. Nothing like that whatsoever. It's Grealish on the left and Gomez, Phillips and Kovacic as a 3 in the midfield. I would prefer my formation. What would you go for? Do you like the idea of Grealish drifting in that number 10 role? He's got number 10 on the back of his shirt. So in his mind, when he signed Manchester City, that's what he thought. You know, you don't play number 10 on the wing. You know, when he signed for City, he picked number 10. So they did that for a reason. You know, coming from Aston Villa, that's where he was, a free spirit drifting into those pockets and causing havoc and shooting from outside the box and doing the audacious, whereas this role under Pep Guardiola, and he's found his feet doing it, he's doing a good job while doing it, it's just quite restrictive. He's not really given that freedom to express himself as much. I mean, sometimes I'm wondering if he's asked to not beat the fullback. Don't beat the fullback. Just lay it back. Just keep the ball. It seems like that sometimes, whereas Doku is the polar opposite type of player. And obviously, he's not playing today. I thought Doku could have played today because he hasn't had that many minutes. He is young, fresh as well. So I'm hoping Jack Grealish is drifting and Gomez is on the left. What have I done? I've got Oscar Bob on the right, Kovacic and Phillips tucking in as two midfield. That's the system that we've played throughout this season. So I've crammed in the players in the system that we've played this season, which is almost like a double pivot, but one of the pivots can push forward a little bit. Alvarez is where Grealish would be normally, and we've had Doku and Foden rotating on the wings, whereas today I'm guessing Gomez and Oscar Bob. But on the width, on the wides, it's quite inexperienced, isn't it, with Oscar Bob and Gomez. With Alvarez being up top on his own, it's a new role for him today. He's probably not given that same freedom that he's been given recently, which I have to wait and see, because, I mean, he stepped into that role immensely well, incredibly well, Alvarez, so far this season, doing, you know, in terms of numbers, he's not far behind Kevin De Bruyne in terms of his record-breaking season at this stage last season. He's, I think, 2 or 3 assists, or chances created, rather, behind Kevin De Bruyne in De Bruyne's 19-20 season, 2019-2020 season. So Alvarez has been incredible. Different role today. He's got the number 9, the out-and-out number 9 role. Will it be a false 9, potentially, cutting back a little bit? Because he can do that, can't he? He can do that, whereas Haaland can't do that. But yeah, Rendrex travels. Delighted for Ake. He deserves the captaincy for all his hard work. Yeah, mate, absolutely. I love Ake. One of my secret favourite players, Ake. I love him. I think I don't ever see him play badly. You know, I really just think he's so reliable, so reliable. And he's probably going to be tucking in the left side of the centre-back partnership between himself and Akanji. Predictions, Johnny, and shout out to Jeff. D Harsh, absolutely. Jeff, by the way, we're all waiting for you, Jeff. We're all waiting for you to pull out some magical, wondrous prediction. We're waiting. That's why we tuned in. 90% of my viewers are here for you, mate. They're not here for me. I don't give a shit about me. They're here for you, Jeff. They're waiting for your prediction, mate. Like, come on, let's get it done. Like, one of these days, you're gonna get it wrong. I'm gonna block you. That's it. You're blocked. I'm not really. Predictions for myself. I predicted 1-1. City win on penalties, which should be good, because penalties and City are not the best of friends. But I wonder who would take our penalties with this starting 11. By the time the game's coming to an end, if it's 1-1, a lot of that bench will be on the pitch probably to try and not let the game finish 1-1, get it done. I mean, I'm pretty sure it goes straight to penalties as well, so I don't think there's extra time, which is good for everybody. Good for everybody, because I was saying in the preview, there are 94 players injured in the Premier League right now. 94. That's 4 full squads of Premier League players, which is a fifth of the Premier League, which is worrying, isn't it? Because you hear people have accused Pep of whinging. It's not whinging. He's making the point. You know, when Klopp comes out and talks, that's whinging. Blaming the wind, the length of the grass, that sort of shite that comes out of Klopp's mouth, that is whinging. When it comes to Pep, he doesn't whinge. He gets on with it, but he highlights things in the grand scheme of things, the big picture stuff. Like, our players are injured because you keep cramming as many fixtures in as possible, and therefore we're injured. And that includes all the international fixtures as well. Going away with England, whatever nationality you're going away with, and you come back, and so many injuries are being picked up. And I've just given you an example there. A fifth of the Premier League right now are injured. So, PUBG Gaming 2-1 Man City. Get your predictions in as well. I want to see them. 1-1 City. Oh, no way. Citizens for Life has gone exactly what I've gone for. I think you wrote that before I said it, to be fair. Jeff says he'd rather Jack in the middle. Yeah, me too, mate. I want to see it. It's more from a excitement factor. I just want to see it. You know, I'm curious, really curious about seeing if he's got a new role. Because if he can do it, then we've got a new attacking midfielder, you know, not just an out-and-out winger, and there's the versatility again. We've got another player, because when you say Jack Grealish, he's never played anywhere else other than on the left wing for City. I think maybe once or twice, I'm sure someone might correct me, there may have been one game or two where he's drifted inside, if that. But if he proves himself tonight away at St James's Park, this could be a good example for him, you know, just a good setting the precedent for everyone else in the midfield that I can play there, you know. Pressure's on Phil Foden, pressure's on Alvarez, De Bruyne when he comes back. You know, that's what we want to see. Everyone pushing everyone else for their position. And if you drop a level, then someone else is going to come in and take your place. And I'm hoping Jack can do it tonight. I'm worried about Arsenal game regarding Calvin. Yeah, it is, well, I don't know. I mean, Declan Rice, isn't it? You know, they've got the same issue. How serious is that? Because it's his back injury. I haven't heard how serious it is in terms of Declan Rice's back injury. But if that was karma, the amount of, well, I say the amount of Arsenal fans, there was one in particular, wasn't there, that charged into the chat at the end of the watch-along last at the weekend, who came flying in, giving it the big uns for Rodri's injury, celebrating his, not injury, suspension rather. And celebrating that, and now Declan Rice is injured. So, you know, karma. A lovely, lovely lady. Knick-knack, 2-2, City win on pens. Douglas Wright, 2-2. Who wins, Douglas? I fancy us winning tonight, says Darren, 3-1. Jan, good to see you, Jan. 3-1 to City, 3-1, class. 1-0 City, says Scott. I think 1-0 Newcastle, Jay's killer. I'm sure you've predicted a similar anticlimactic prediction before. I'm sure you've come in with the opposition to win before. Mate, there's a little part of me that thinks the same, to be honest, so you're not alone. But in truth, my head's thinking 1-1, City win on penalties. My heart's thinking along the lines of Darren, 3-1. But there is a little part of me that's worried. But less so now, because of the Newcastle lineup, I feel better about the game now. Now I've seen Newcastle's lineup, I feel much, much better going into this game. It's Joelinton's return, though, because I said he was injured. He was, apparently. He's come back quicker than expected. So Joelinton being in the starting 11 for Newcastle's huge. It's huge, because he's such a brute force player. And I mean, Eddie Howe's worked wonders with him, because he came in to the Premier League as a striker, didn't he? He came in as a striker, and he was struggling. He couldn't hit a barn door. He was woeful in front of goal. Yet the little masterstroke of Eddie Howe was to retract him, put him into midfield, and he's immense. You know, he's not Yaya Toure level in terms of quality, but he reminds me of Yaya Toure. That's such a physical presence that, you know, he just puts a hand on a player's chest and like, you're not getting this ball, mate. And like, he just holds the ball off everybody, and he just seems to ghost past players like they're not there, and his physical presence is. But he doesn't have that technical ability of Yaya. Yaya's worth a whole conversation on its own, isn't it? Because he is probably one of our most underrated historical players we've ever had. For me, he's a legend of the club. For me, he is a legend. Is Yaya a legend for you? Because for me, I think he's absolutely incredible what he did. That one season in particular, and I know a season doesn't make a player, but it wasn't just one season, was it? Yaya was 3 or 4 seasons of absolute quality. Attacking midfield, central midfield, box-to-box midfield, centre-back. The spine of a team, he walked it, no problem. He was an absolute class at Yaya. Shame the way he left the club. A few little comments here and there and things like that about the dressing room, and Pep, he wasn't Pep's favourite, was he? And I think that had a little bit of a sour note to Yaya's career. But ultimately, the guy deserves so much accolades at Manchester City. Jeff with the 2 again, thanks very much. My heart says cover goal. Hope I don't get blocked. You won't get blocked, mate. I was only joking, mate. But Kovacic, there you have it. Jeff has called it. Kovacic's goal. Jeff, if you do it again, mate. I don't know where to go from here if you do it again. I don't know where to go. That's the price of success, says Knick-Knack. Happy for Oscar Bob today, but would have liked him to play together with Haaland, says Hillflow. Good to see you, Hillflow. Yeah, That would have been nice. I think it depends on the scoreline, doesn't it? If we go 1-0 down, you're probably going to see a few of the big guns coming on in the second half. Wrapping players in cotton wool seems to be the priority today, though, doesn't it? But I like the starting 11, you know. I think the balance is exactly what I wanted. And he's found it. He's found the balance. It's very different from my starting 11 that I picked, but there is still power there. There's quality there, you know. You got Jack Grealish, Alvarez, who's probably our most informed player, excluding probably Rodri. Oh, is he? He probably is. In terms of assists and goals, he absolutely is. Liverpool are losing, says Jays. Who are they playing again? Jays Killer says that. Jeff, Yaya legend 100%. Beyond belief, Yaya is a legend. Winning goal in 2011, absolutely, mate. Love that. Yaya was unplayable for a few seasons, running through everyone. He was like a train, wasn't he, Darren? Absolute juggernaut of a player who just... That goal against Villa, where we pretty much... I think we won the title that game, or pretty much had it in the bag against Villa at the Etihad, where he just picked the ball up from about the edge of the box and he just ran the full length of the pitch. I think it was Fabian Delphi who was chasing him or trying to hack him down? I can't remember, but he absolutely... And then he just buried it. Similar goal away to Palace as well. I think he did a 1-2 with Samir Nasri away to Palace, and then he cuts it back and just whips it top left-hand corner. Yeah, that was incredible. And the free kicks as well. The free kicks, man. Like, I've never seen a guy with his physical like appearance, just a big guy. Normally you don't see like big brute guys like that have the technical ability as well like that. It was almost I hate to say the name, but it was almost Beckham-esque, wasn't it? The way he stood at completely parallel to the ball, side on, running to it, and then just whipped it top corner, didn't he? I miss Yaya. He's not a Pep player though. He never was. Even in his peak, Pep would struggle. Where would he play in this system under Pep Guardiola? Probably in Alvarez's position, I would pick, because does he have the defensive nous of Rodri? You know, he doesn't. He did slip once or twice defensively, but going forward, Yaya was just frightening, wasn't he? Go on, Leicester, says Darren. Leicester, is it? That's right. I need to get the other scores up. There is the draws after this game as well, if we're in it, of course. Needs to get the other fixtures up to have a little gander at what's going on. But Liverpool losing, no way, they are as well. Who else is Arsenal winning, beating Brentford away? Bournemouth, Stoke City, Chelsea, Brighton. That should be a good game, shouldn't it? Chelsea. I was really expecting Chelsea to step up this season. Just you can see the goal here, actually. Liverpool, Leicester, goal. It's come up on my screen. Oh, giving away, counter-attack. Leicester breaking away. Leicester collapsed last season, didn't they? I don't know how they went. The players they had should not have ended up in the Championship. You know, they should not have ended up in the Championship at all. And I have them to come right back. You know, I imagine they'll bounce right back. It's mad that they're in the Championship now. And I mean, what? Seems like yesterday they were winning the Premier League. That's mental, isn't it? Absolutely mental. But Chelsea, Brighton, that's going to be a good game. Really good game. But Chelsea have completely flopped again. And it's a perfect example. They are doing the best job in the world of taking our crown off our heads as the big spenders. You know, we're the football ruiners, aren't we? We're the team that splashed the cash. Yet Chelsea continuously spend their money, a lot of it as well in the process, and do absolutely fuck all in the process. Nothing. If anything, they've declined since they've started spending money under Todd Bowley. Complete capitulation within that club. And I really picked them for this season. Pochettino was the main reason why I thought, right, he's going to bring in some stability. I don't think he's the type to splash the cash. He's going to probably focus a little bit, blend a bit of youth with experience, which is Pochettino's way. That went out the window really quickly, and they just continued to splash the cash. And I'm sure Pochettino had nothing to do with that, but incredible. Incredible how flaky Chelsea have been. Really bad. Pep always picks a good team, says Douglas. Right, I think you're right, mate. I had a funny feeling there was going to be a nice blend today. I really didn't think there was going to be like an array of academy players just thrown in there today. But Hamilton as well, he might get... I wonder what Pep's seen in him. I mean, I know very little about the guy, I'm going to be honest with you. So I hope he gets minutes so he can educate me on himself. What are we on now? 4 minutes till kickoff. They're in the tunnel. There's Nathan Ake looking focused alongside Lascelles. Gonna hear that weird... What is that Newcastle tune? I've always wondered what that tune is that Newcastle play. That tune that they play when they come out. It sounds like Coronation Street, doesn't it? It sounds a bit odd. But I'm sure it's traditional to wherever they're from. But do you know what else is traditional to Newcastle? Is weird. I've been up to Newcastle twice for a stag do's. Why is it compulsory for stag do's to have a midget with them handcuffed to somebody, or a hen do to have a midget? Sorry, that's probably not the correct term, a dwarf. I don't know what the correct term. I'm sure I'm going to get blocked on YouTube now for saying the wrong thing. But a dwarf, whatever the correct term is for a small person. Why is it compulsory to have one of those with you in Newcastle? Can someone explain this to me? I'm sure if you're not from the UK, you're like, what are you on about? But if you've been to Newcastle and you've been on a night out, you'll know that it's a very odd thing that they do in Newcastle. It's, is it little person, dwarf, little person, sorry, did I say yeah? So, apologies for saying, is it the M word? Sorry about that. He almost looked at times like he couldn't even walk, but when he got into his stride, no one could even foul him. I'm presuming you're talking about Yaya. That sounds like a Yaya Toure description. Jay Fresh, stunner in the chat. Good to see you, mate. Yaya was a tank. Excellent word, tank. He absolutely was. Didn't Yaya play as a centre-back for Pep's treble? He did, mate. He did. I think he was playing centre-back in the 2008 Champions League final against United. I'm pretty sure he was centre-back in that game, which is interesting, isn't it? So maybe Pep saw him even more defensively than I'm giving him credit for, but he's probably not even thinking defensively, Pep. Knowing Pep, he's not even thinking like that. He's thinking, which is my best centre-backs or potential centre-backs who can control the ball, you know, and Yaya is definitely one of them, and they probably expected to have a lot of the ball. Is that news to you, Nick Knight? Well, don't go to Newcastle then if you're not into that sort of thing. But it's a good night out in Newcastle, though. I like Newcastle fans. I've had a good few nights out there, and I went to the away game, City away game in the 11-12 season, the game before Aguero's goal, and I was up in the gods. The away end's just like almost pointless going because you need binoculars. Do you know what I mean? Just like can't see anything at all from up there. But I remember walking out from the Newcastle with a group of Newcastle fans with my mate, and I was just saying, they were talking to me, just saying, I hope you beat United. You've got to beat United. Go and beat QPR. Who knew that the game we were about to go into with that Aguero goal moment was going to be the game that it turned out to be? But they were all supporting City because there's a common trend amongst a lot of fans that anyone but United. ABU, wasn't it, really? And I think that's a lot of anti-United fans still out there, and Newcastle were very good to me that day. I remember that. Looking forward to seeing Livramento tonight. Hasn't played much since his ACL injury at Southampton. I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all, mate, but fair play. G-Not Walters, good to see you. Only have one device about to leave the stream, but you've been nothing but class speaking about City. Thank you very much. It's very good of you to say. Thanks very much. Hopefully you can stick around for the whole game. If you can't see the game, hopefully my attempted commentary will do justice. Teams are out on the pitch, by the way. Little huddle from the Newcastle team. A little less... Oh, there we go. Huddle. There we go. Ake comes in. I think they were waiting for Ake. I was getting a bit concerned then because they looked like they couldn't be bothered having a huddle. But then Ake turns up and they all get involved. Body language is something I'm a big monitor of. I do like to look at, even in the tunnel, do you know what I mean? Look at players' faces. When you're walking up to take a penalty, I like to look at the facial expressions, the nerves that are potentially being told on their face, the body language. And City look up for it. They looked all right. Kickoff's about to start. City taking the kickoff. Kovacic on the ball, standing above it. And we're off. Calvin Phillips, big night for him. Big night for Calvin Phillips. Really looking forward to seeing if he can step up to the plate. I really hope he does. I've seen a lot of City fans giving him a bit of stick, in truth, which I think is a bit harsh. Bordering, it's not quite to the extent of Harry Maguire's abuse, but on Twitter you tend to see a lot more negativity on that platform than other platforms. But some of the things that have been said about Calvin Phillips, like, get out of my club. that type of shit. It's like, come on. The guys, last season he had 600 minutes to his name compared to Rodri's 3,500. No, it was like nearly 4,000 minutes Rodri had last season. And he ain't going to get better like by saying those sort of things. I think Jacob Murphy's gone down here. Jacob Murphy's gone down. Early collision, I think, between Guardiola. I want to figure out the lineup as well, actually. Where's Gomez playing, most importantly? I think that's going to be a big story for today's fixture, how it's going to play out. There's Guardiola, I think, catching Jacob Murphy there. Section 20, good to see you, mate. Good evening, Bluesy says. Do you watch Cricket World Cup? I don't, D-Harsh. But I used to play it quite a bit for my school and county and a village I used to live in as well. But yeah, I used to play a lot of cricket, but I never got into it. I think booze found its way into my world when I was 16, and a fake license, and then cricket just fell down the pecking order in my priorities. Unfortunately. Mustafa, good to see you, mate. Hello, he says. Everton 1-0 up at Villa. Knick-knack says. Villa are an odd one, aren't they? I think they did some good business in the summer. Grealish is on the left. Alvarez is up top. Nathan Ake is currently left midfield. I don't know what is going on here. Rico Lewis has inverted himself. We don't have three. There's Nathan Ake. I'm struggling to figure out what's going on here. Nathan Ake is all over the place right now because just then he was the closest player to Alvarez. And it wasn't like a random moment or anything. But Rico Lewis is definitely inverted fullback. So it's like almost a double pivot of Rico Lewis and Calvin Phillips. Yeah, it looks like Nathan Ake, Gvardiol and Akanji as a 3. Sergio Gomez, I can't even see him on the camera. He must be right wing because currently the ball is very much on the left wing. Oscar Bob is drifting about the pitch. He seems to be a bit of a free spirit. And there's Sergio Gomez on the right wing. He's always doing something, Pep. He's a nightmare. He's a nightmare for predicting. You know. I got invited onto there's a Toon TV studio or something like that. Decent Newcastle channel. I got invited onto that last night, but I got invited to talk about this game, but it was too late. They asked me like at 6:30, and they wanted me on at 7. And by the time I'd read the message, it was 10 to 7, and it was like, yeah, okay, I'll do something. And they're like, oh, sorry, we're already live right now. And it was like, fair enough. So I might be going there again soon. But what they were talking about, it was how difficult it is to pick and predict a City team. So we're not the only ones. I mean, to be fair, if City fans can't predict the starting 11, what hope do the opposition have, really? But Sergio Gomez is... Oscar Bob's position interests me here, because he's very much... seems like a free spirit. But Jack Grealish not in the middle, so you can forget that starting 11 that's alongside me right now. There's Joelinton bringing the ball forward. In steps Akanji. Good battle between the two of them there. Really good work from Akanji. Holds off Joelinton, who he brushed Oscar Bob to one side. No problem for Joelinton, but Akanji said, don't you bully him, mate. And steps in like a big brother would. And protects Oscar Bob and wins the ball brilliantly. And here comes City with the ball. Slowly, mind you, but here comes City. Nice 1-2 with Calvin Phillips and Alvarez. Grealish down the left-hand side, heading towards the edge of the area. Chopping and turning onto his right foot. Crosses blocked, but still into the box it goes. Gvardiol bringing it under his spell. Out to Ake. So Ake's definitely not moving forward like I worried about then, because he was nearly next to Alvarez. That went out, surely. Ake intercepts. Now it's gone out. City looking on top already, says Nick Knack. Yeah, they do. As to be expected. 5 minutes in. And it has mostly been City. Kovacic is going to be our new general, says Jan. Yeah, the issue for Kovacic is his injuries, isn't it? You know, he picked up quite a few injuries at Chelsea. He's already picked one up here. Excuse me. But Yeah, no, if we can keep him fit, he's probably going to keep Núñez out. But, well, I mean, those two, I'd like to see them together, to be honest. Imagine that as a midfield, Kovacic and Núñez. In terms of ball control, I can't think of too many midfielders that would play alongside each other, but there's very little protection of the back line there, is there? Because you can't really afford to do that. But maybe one as an attacking midfielder and one a little bit deeper alongside Rodri in the future. Alvarez doing some good pressing now, trying to win the ball back. Newcastle knocking it around at the back, trying to keep the ball, trying to bring it forward. Alvarez brings him down. Who is that? Trying to figure out who that is. Miley. Is it Miley? Millie? I had a school match. I scored 4. Well played, Jay's Killers. Great work, mate. How do you feel about Phillips being a regular? Good to see a gamification. No. Let's be honest. I'm all for Calvin Phillips being supported by City fans. He's just given away a free kick there on Lewis Hall. Right through the back of him, in truth. But no, I can't see it happening. If Rodri's fit, you're not getting in Calvin Phillips, are you? And it's what he needs to do now is just take these 3 games, play well, and give Pep a little bit more trust in him, because clearly Pep hasn't trusted him in the past. The last few games, last few seasons, let's be honest, or season and a half or whatever you want to call this, however long Phillips has been here, Pep, I don't know, it was bordering like, why did we even sign him? Because Pep must have had a say in that. And there's something that Calvin's doing in training or not doing in training that makes Pep unhappy, because he never ever picked him. To the point where City fans, and myself included, was saying we need to rest Rodri at some point, give him a little bit of a break. But Pep didn't trust him. So we have to rely on Pep, in terms of what his starting 11 favourites are. But now he's got no choice but to play Calvin Phillips, and therefore you hope Calvin Phillips can prove to Pep that, because some players aren't great in training. I know the stories about Aguero. Apparently Aguero was a terrible trainer, and that's probably why he fell down the pecking order when Pep turned up, because he wasn't playing when when Pep first joined City. Aguero went down the pecking order a little bit. He went on the bench a couple of times, if you remember, in that first season. And it was Pep saying, you need to work harder. You need to work harder and do more in training. And Aguero stepped up, and he did. He abided by Pep's rules, and he started to work much, much harder, and we saw an even better Aguero in his final few years. So Calvin Phillips might just be a weak trainer, one of those that doesn't really turn up for training, but on match day is a totally different player. Like Aguero, put him on that pitch in 90 minutes in a competitive match. The difference is incredible. But the stories about him training were not so good. So, could be one of those players. Get smashing the likes, people, says Darren. Thank you very much, mate. 41 likes, 91 in the building. If you could, drop a like. It would be hugely appreciated, guys. I really would appreciate it. How many goals do you think Jack is going to get? Buggen. Straight in there with the Jack talk. Straight in there. Buggen's the biggest Jack Grealish fan in the world. I'm going to go for a Jack Grealish own goal, Buggen, just to annoy you. And we'll leave it at that, mate. Darren, Núñez surprised me on Saturday. He was superb. Núñez has been brilliant, mate. Really good. Knick-knack. Phillips is perfectly capable of doing a job for City. Problem is he's never going to be a first 11 material. I agree, mate. Yeah, no, he's not, really. But he could be that, that squad player that we need. So far, City have been dominating a lot of the ball. Little glimpses of Newcastle winning the ball back, but not really taking it into any dangerous areas. But control from City so far, I say that. Gomez getting caught on the ball by Joelinton, absolutely crunched by him. Here comes Isaac. Calvin Phillips trying to monitor him. Isaac's bursting in, twisting and turning Gvardiol with brilliant defending from Josko Gvardiol there. Gomez, sloppy. Really sloppy from Sergio Gomez there. Getting caught on the ball by Sergio Gomez. Calvin Phillips trying to mop up the pieces. Couldn't, unfortunately. The ball was knocked through into Isaac's path, who finds himself one-on-one with Gvardiol. Gvardiol was twisting and turning, didn't know which to turn. Isaac trying to beat him, but read it really well. Good play from Gvardiol to see it out there. I'm watching it on Sky, Jay's Killers. Sky Sports. Yeah, I agree, Nick Nack. I think we have to, I'm trying my best not to be arrogant about City's involvement in the Carabao Cup. I really don't want to be that club anymore. Like, not anymore. We never really were. But I've seen glimpses of City fans being like, forget the Carabao Cup. It's nothing. I understand its order. There's a hierarchy of trophies, isn't there? And Carabao Cup this season is one above the Community Shield. And the Community Shield being bottom, then it's Carabao Cup, isn't it? I'm not going to pretend that's not the case, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't focus on it and try and win it, because we're a record-breaking team. Nice ball from Rico Lewis. Sergio Gomez down the right wing. Oscar Bob offering himself. Sergio Gomez into the box. It's over everybody's head. That was a Haaland cross. Haaland's on the pitch. That was not a bad delivery. He had the right. I think he got a little bit too much height on it from Gomez. Right angle. Good whip on it. But little Alvarez just watched that fly over his head. But Haaland might have enjoyed that cross. Do I have to pay, says Jay's Killers. Yeah, mate. I have to pay £100 a month for my Sky package. I have got multi-room and a few other things with it. But yeah, Sky's a joke, mate. It's an absolute joke. Akanji knocking the ball back. Goal kick. All the way up. Akanji knocks it back to Ake. Back to Ortega, who's closed down but knocks it over to Rico Lewis. Rico Lewis's first touch is brilliant. Not just that moment, it was brilliant in that moment, but generally his first touch is fantastic. He can take it on the half turn really, really well. But yeah, Oscar Bob is playing in Alvarez's role. So if you remember the system that we've played so far this season, Oscar Bob is playing the Alvarez role and Alvarez is now playing the Haaland role. So if you can picture that if you're not watching the game. So Oscar Bob in a number 10 role. I saw him as an out-and-out winger, but that's Sergio Gomez today. Alvarez closing down Nick Pope, who boots it out for a throw into City just on the edge of the final third. Yeah, Mustafa, I'd love the quadruple, mate. Same section 20 saying the same thing. Need to win the Carabao Cup to get the quadruple. It's unrealistic, isn't it? I mean, let's be honest, we're probably not going to do it, but you're certainly not going to do it if you assume you're not going to do it. If you walk into the game ready to lose, you will lose. So what's the point, You might as well forfeit the game. There's no way Pep even thinks like that. No way. And I know there are some City fans out there that think, so little of this tournament, but it does have meaning. Great touch from Oscar Bob down the line to Sergio Gomez. Nice bit of footwork from Oscar Bob there. Sergio Gomez with a lovely, lovely switched ball over to Grealish, who brings it down brilliantly onto his right foot. Knocked away by Miley, but Grealish still has it. Back to Ake. Calvin Phillips. Shot blocked from Calvin Phillips. Lands at Grealish's foot. Brings it under his spell. Corner of the edge of the area. Back to Ake again. Back to Grealish. Ake. Phillips. Rico Lewis finds himself in midfield. Kovacic tries to find Alvarez threading a ball through the eye of the needle. It was a good idea, but really difficult to execute. Alvarez wins it back nearly. Cleared by Newcastle. All City so far. Really good play. Really good play. Just that little moment from Gomez where you just need to be mindful of Newcastle's game plan, which is likely to be winning the ball back and hitters on the break. They've got the speed to do it. Lewis Hall is very quick. Isaac's dribbling abilities very good. Jacob Murphy's quick. So we do need to be mindful of the counter. 64% possession for City so far. Absolutely no need to apologise, Marie. Come on, City, she says. City 23, Newcastle 0. Jeff, you're blocked. Where's my mouse? I'm going to block you, mate. No, I'm not. No, I'm not really. Well, I don't even know how to block people. I know how to mute people. I don't know how to block people, to be honest. Jan, it's all City, but we have to be on alert for Newcastle break. Exactly. Newcastle parking the bus. I think they're a little bit, not quite parking the bus, Tuna, but I know what you mean. They're very defensive at the minute. But yeah, I don't think City give teams an option, really, when it comes to that defensive mindset. There are plenty of teams that come out thinking, right, we'll go at them today. We'll have a go at City. We'll try and hit them. And then they spend 90 minutes on the edge of their area because they've no choice. The quality's just not good enough to get the ball off us. And Oscar Bob firing it back to Rico Lewis. There was no chance of him controlling that. City win the ball back thanks to Gvardiol. Gvardiol was brilliant the other day against Forest. Gvardiol was really good. Kovacic bringing the ball forward down the left wing. Space as well because Newcastle committed some men, but they're back now. Jack Grealish on the left with his notoriously short socks and magnificently muscular calves. Calvin Phillips, Rico Lewis. Yeah, I was a big fan of Gvardiol at the weekend. I thought he was really good. Ruben Diaz for me was probably pipped it for our best defensive performance going up against we had the 10 men going up against Forest, who were throwing everything at us with Elanga and Hudson-Odoi coming onto the pitch. They did try, didn't they, Forest, but nothing was getting through. Thanks to Diaz, Gvardiol. Akanji did really well, but I think the two standout defenders were Gvardiol and Diaz in that game. But not because Akanji was bad, I just don't think the ball came his way in the game. So far, good ball from Phillips. Finding plenty of space. Oscar Bob, Alvarez on the overlap. Got to give it him. Does. Into the penalty. Alvarez shot. Oh, good save with his foot from Nick Pope. Oh, that looked an odd save, to be honest. He almost tried to control it. Oscar Bob forced Alvarez a little bit wide. He could have delayed the ball a little bit more, but maybe Alvarez was going to be offside. Yeah, he forced him a little bit wide with that, and Alvarez had to cut it back, but counter-attack out of nowhere. Sloppy from Newcastle. Oscar Bob breaks away, knocks it into Alvarez's path. Alvarez tries to fire it in across Nick Pope into the far post, bottom corner, but Nick Pope just pokes out a right foot and knocks it out for, I think, a corner. But good play from City. First chance of the game. Grealish. Keeping the ball. Working his way inside, decides to turn around, goes back towards where he came from. Calvin Phillips into Rico Lewis, who's been very central this game. Gomez is pinned on the right wing, finding space, going up against Lewis Hall, onto his left foot, back to Rico Lewis. Calvin Phillips. Oscar Bob, who's finding... he's having a good game. Good game. One little bad pass a minute ago, but to Rico Lewis, to be fair, he got it to Rico Lewis, but he smashed it at him. So there was no chance Rico was going to control it. Which on paper, successful passes in the final third. 39 for Manchester City, 1 for Newcastle so far. So this weakened Manchester City side show no signs of stopping in terms of momentum. Just nullify the mistakes. No mistakes, and we should win this game, really, so far, going off the pattern of play. Back with Ortega. Bugging. I don't even know what formation this is. It's definitely 3 at the back, and Rico Lewis and Calvin Phillips. It's dynamic, isn't it? I think that's the best way. And I mean, what Pep formation isn't, you know? Sorry if I keep holding back a burp. Mrs. made a beautiful beef Sunday roast, even though it's not Sunday. A Wednesday roast, which was delicious. And it's very, very full. And up to here now, I'm full of spuds and beef. So I'm trying to avoid burping down the mic. Oscar Bob, he's the one, says Mustafa. He looks good, mate. He looks good. And I think he's been given a lot of freedom now because, and minutes as well. Likely, had Cole Palmer chose to stay. That was interesting. That little moment there from Calvin Phillips. First time ball. What a ball from Ortega. Oh, no, I thought Grealish was in then. Long ball over the top. Grealish ghosted in behind the back line of Newcastle. But that was interesting from Phillips. My biggest criticism of Calvin Phillips so far in a Manchester City shirt is his eyes behind in the back of your head sort of feeling, you know, that ability to have a 360 vision. You know how Rodri now receives the ball right down the middle of the pitch from Ederson usually, isn't it? When he receives that ball, it's normally a first-time pass, isn't it? Or he's got the awareness to control it and turn, recognising he's probably received a shout from Ederson. You've got time, turn, whatever it may be. But if he's got a man on his back, first time pass either straight back to Ederson, nice cushion ball, first time back pass to the full back, left back, right back, or either centre back, whichever it may be. Last season I saw Calvin Phillips panic a lot in that situation. You know, receiving the ball from the goalkeeper, facing the goalkeeper, he's struggled with that. But then that must be training. You know, Pep's must have spoke to him and taught him those things, and how to hit the ball first time and have the composure and awareness to receive the ball from the goalkeeper and not needing to take a touch. You know, because that half a second is how you get caught on the ball. Chelsea 0, Brighton 0, Fulham 1, Norwich 0, Lincoln 0, West Ham 0, Liverpool 0. Grealish is in. Oh, he's brought down, is he? Good ball. Oh, sorry, good tackle, sorry. Dumb it. Last-ditch tackle. No complaining from Grealish. Grealish looked like he was in, but sliding tackle from Dummett brings Grealish down. But he did win the ball. Good tackle. Do I live in Manchester? I do. Wapang. Thanks for asking, mate. I do. Yeah, absolutely. Well, on the cusp of Manchester. Yeah, born in Manchester. St Mary's Hospital, for those who know it. Just enough room for pudding. Oh, mate, I think I forgot my pudding. So I don't think I did. I had to come back here and start making this little graphic you can see on your right. So no room for pudding. Oh, I'm hungry now. You said that. Yorkshire pudding. I did have Yorkshire puddings. They were in there. But I didn't have any pudding after it, unfortunately. When Bernardo Silva release clause gets activated, City should get Kvaradona. And then you just retracted that just in time, gamification. So I read it just before you retracted it, mate. So, saw it, you sneaky. At least I don't think there's anything that wrong with what you said, to be honest. But Oscar Bob bringing the ball forward. Grealish. I'll talk about Bernardo Silva in a minute. Grealish on the left side. Ake, overlap. Ake. Kovacic. Phillips. Back to Kovacic. Keeping the ball really well in midfield. Dictating the play here. Phillips seeing a lot of the ball. Dinks one over the top to Grealish. Brings it down. It's good play. Really good play from City so far. Guardiola bringing the ball forward. I haven't seen him in a while. Finds Grealish with space. One man to beat. And he's tackled. Livramento stayed down here. Tackling Grealish seems to have hurt him. City look like they're about to do the sporting thing. No, Livramento's back up on his feet. So City carry on. Sergio Gomez down the right wing. Inside to Calvin Phillips. Poor ball from Phillips. Good idea, but the execution was all wrong. Trying to find... intercepted by Rico Lewis really well. Down to the byline, Rico Lewis. Crosses it. Nearly went out for a goal kick. Poor cross from Rico Lewis, though, over everybody's head. Good interception, though. Really good from Rico Lewis. Guardiola bringing the ball down. All the way back to Ortega, who hasn't seen it for a while. It's been very controlled so far. City have really looked after the ball very well. My only, if you want to nitpick and start being critical, there's very little penetration so far. Which doesn't not mean we're not playing well, because we are playing well. Newcastle have not had a sniff of the ball. You know, it's been total domination in midfield from City, but you're just looking at that Calvin Phillips ball is what I'm talking about a minute ago, trying to thread it down the inside right channel to Gomez. If he finds him, he's in. But it's that level of penetration that we need right now, that we're missing a little bit of a clinical ball. But Rico Lewis bringing it forward. Goes back to Phillips.
Nunes isn't on the pitch. Gamification, mate. He's on the bench. Ake sprinting through the middle of the pitch with the ball. Jack Grealish on the left. Running into the edge of the area. Jack Grealish on his right foot. Knocks it back to Kovacic with space. Is he going to... His shot blocked. Tonali with a brilliant block. Lascelles heads it away. The block from Tonali goes straight up in the air. And underneath it was Lascelles to clear it. Me neither, Nick Nack. It has been very one-sided so far. I think that's more a reflection of Newcastle's starting 11 than ours. Because I think... There's that beef again. I think it was going to be more of an even game had Newcastle gone full strength and we'd played this team. It would probably be quite end-to-end and a bit more exciting to watch, to be honest, for the neutral at least. Phillips. Really sloppy ball from Calvin Phillips, that was. Guardiola steps forward, brings down Tonali to try and stop the attempted counter-attack, but Phillips needs to be mindful of that. That's 2 balls he's given away now. And I want to say good things about Calvin Phillips, but I'm not going to ignore passes like that. You know, that was sloppy. Really sloppy. I liked the idea before with Gomez, the right idea. You know, it didn't come off, but the idea was good. That was a 5-yard pass. And it's just poor, you know, giving it away. Harry Worthington, good to see you in the chat. Haven't seen you before, mate. Hope you're doing well. Front 3 are too passive. Grealish is passive, isn't he? When you talk about it depends on how you want to look at it. If you're looking at Doku, he's the most opposite in terms of passive. But he keeps the ball really well. But you're right, when you're looking for penetration is something I've mentioned. Yeah, we're missing that, aren't we? Gamification. Here in Argentina, we call Julian Alvarez young Messi. That's a big, big comparison. Jack Grealish bringing it forward. Overlapped by Kovacic. Gives it to Kovacic. Edge of the area to Oscar Bob. Alvarez is in. Shot. Well wide. House. Really wide. It was a really acute angle. It was difficult for him to even try and get it on target because he's almost at the byline from shooting, trying to shoot from the byline here. But Alvarez, was he onside? This looked like a real opportunity. We got in with ease then. Oscar Bob with a lovely ball. He's in. That's onside. And has he clipped the post? I think he's clipped the post, actually, looking at that. Maybe not. Just, it's gone out for a throw-in. It went that far wide. But, I mean, the angle was so acute. It was the best he could hope for. It was the sort of angle where Sergio Aguero goes near post. Do you know what I mean? Sergio Aguero was the master of scoring at the near post. Gomez luckily finding Oscar Bob. Rico, I'm getting confused with Oscar Bob and Rico Lewis because they've got the same marvellous afro. But both playing very well. Calvin Phillips with a is it lovely? No. Oh, no. Lucky he gets over the top to Ake, they couldn't control it. It's gone out for a throw-in. No attempt from Grealish to get near the goal, says Nick Nack. Yeah, it's a criticism of Jack Grealish that's regularly levelled his way, isn't it? He always gets told to by City fans, me included. Once in a while, I want to see it, but he's got to be doing it under instructions. There must be a possession. There must be a thought process that's focused on possession, because Pep Guardiola would, if Pep wants him to beat his player, his fullback, and he's not doing it, Pep would bring him off. He wouldn't keep playing him. So he keeps the ball really well, Jack Grealish, and he brings others into the play really well. It's just, I agree, there are times where the immature part of me and the easily excitable part of me wants to see Jack Grealish beat his player once in a while. Gomez down the right wing. Back to Akanji. Ake. Kovacic, who finds himself on the left wing. Grealish is inverted now, tucked inside. Kovacic is way on the left side. Grealish has gone up front. Alvarez is playing in a number 10. All of a sudden, everything's rotated. Temporarily, I imagine. Grealish sent down the line by Kovacic. Down the inside channel. Grealish goes back to Kovacic. Kovacic, nice turn. Kovacic. bringing it inside, tries to cut it inside with a through ball, but intercepted. Ake, out to Grealish. Seen a lot of the ball, Jack Grealish, but it is going backwards so far. Long ball over the top to Alvarez, who's never going to win that. Grealish, again. Inside to Alvarez, inside the area. 2 men to beat. Has to go back to Grealish, and he couldn't. Intercepted by Livramento, rather, who beats Jack Grealish, and Grealish brings him down. It was a soft one, though, that, really. Jack Grealish gives a wry little smile, knowing that that was a dive, but don't pretend you've never done it, Jack. See you doing that on a weekly basis. Alan Austin in the chat, good to see you. How we doing? Sat at work? Has it been a good game? It's not really been a good game for the neutral. I think the neutral might have other things to say in terms of excitement, but from a City point of view, very comfortable. Controlled is the best way to describe it. Lacking in penetration right now, but I'm feeling very comfortable. You're just wondering if a one mistake or any lapse in concentration would be punished, because we've seen, oh, what is that? Lewis Hall booting the ball back to Nick Pope. He lobbed it back to him, and Nick Pope says, I'm not even going to try and control that, you madman, what are you thinking? So he lets it go out for a corner. Sergio Gomez taking the corner, which is exciting, because I think he's got a good, nice whip of a left foot. Let's see his delivery. Guardiola coming forward. We haven't got much height today, have we? Even at the back. You know, your Ruben Diaz and John Stones and Laporte when we had him. They were big guys. Gomez's corner. Whipped in. Guardiola! Oh! I think it hit the back of the head. He heads it. Coming in at the back post. Heads it onto the back of the head of a Newcastle player. I can't see who it is, but it's gone out for another corner. Guardiola's header was going in as well. Good bit of defending from whoever it was. I think it's Dummett who just jumped up in hope that he was going to block it, and he did a good job. Newcastle playing for penalties, possibly, mate. Possibly. We're certainly not. We're going for the jugular here. Jack Grealish with a long ball. Corner, back post, nodded back in by Gomez, and it finds its way to Nick Pope. Bring the big guns on in the second half, says Tuna. I think Pep really wants to avoid that at all costs, doesn't he? Wolves at the weekend's not going to be an easy game. So we're going to need the big guns for that game, which, hang on a minute, Newcastle for the first time looking a bit lively, bringing it forward with Joelinton. Back to Lewis Hall. You can ignore my graphics along the right, by the way, because Lewis Hall is not playing left wing. He's playing... Or is he? I think he's... It's hard to see what formation they're playing as well, you know. I think Lewis Hall's playing left back, to be honest. So, Sky, BBC, myself, we all got it wrong. But Joelinton's very much central. Sky and BBC had Joelinton down as left wing, which was surely never going to be the case, and it isn't. Ball back with Nick Pope. We're still on that statistic that they provided, successful passes, in the final third. 81 from Manchester City, 1 from Newcastle. So in terms of being one-sided, yeah, it's as one-sided as it can get in terms of possession and control, but not so much in terms of chance creation. Only really Alvarez with, I think it was 2 chances really. Kovacic. Ake. Phillips. Akanji. Not seeing much of the ball. Down Ooh, Alvarez tries to knock it to Oscar Bob, who was about to send Grealish through, I think, but intercepted. La 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 la. Rodri's at home. Arsenal fans are becoming delusional, says Mustafa. Yeah, I think they have got a little bit giddy about Rodri's absence, because you can see right now Phillips has gone down. Let me hear this. Oh, completely off the ball. Looks like a connection with Joelinton. Referee's wandered over. Phillips is asking the ref what that was all about. Could do without a Phillips injury. Don't know what went on there. Joelinton and Phillips. I think he might have stood on his foot, but don't think it was intentional. I mean, yeah, I was going to say, could do without Calvin Phillips getting injured. Who thought we'd be saying that this season? We need that. We need him. Oscar Bob winning the ball back, but knocking it all the way back to Dummett, who intercepts and knocks it back to Nick Pope. Poor touch, though. Grealish intercepts. Can he bring it forward? No, he couldn't quite bring it under his spell. It was a bobbling ball. Wouldn't quite sit for him. Phillips steps in. Foul. Play on, says referee. Newcastle don't even look like they want to play on. Do you want to play this game or what, Newcastle? The referee's like, play on. And Newcastle are like, I don't want to. I want the free kick. It's like, they're in their final third and they had a chance to break with it, and yet here they are just like, no, I don't want to. There's the giveaway of what the intentions are tonight. Things might change in the second half, which is fast approaching. Those 37 minutes have flown by. Five shots from City, one on target. Touches in the opposition box from City is 8. There's another one because Ake just crossed it, blocked another City corner. 71% possession for City so far. Oscar Bob, lovely feet. Back to Grealish. Grealish in the edge of the area to Rico Lewis. Rico Lewis shot, deflected over the bar. Corner ball. Jan, the only stat I'm interested in is the one in the top left-hand corner of the screen. Couldn't agree more, to be honest. I presume you mean the TV you're watching, but yeah. 0-0 it is so far. Which probably isn't a fair reflection of the game. In terms of chance creations, maybe. Sergio Gomez corner, whipped in dangerously over everybody's head. Phillips has given away a foul on the keeper, Nick Pope. I will be doing a watch-along this weekend for those that are wondering and interested. Wolves this Saturday. Going to be rushing back from my son's second ever football match, which I'm hoping doesn't end 23-0 like his last match did. De Bruyne or David Silva, asks Mustafa. That's a tough one, mate. Probably David Silva, which I don't think would be I don't think that's the popular opinion. I think most people would probably go for Kevin De Bruyne. But my preference is David Silva because of just the way he keeps the ball. Long ball from Calvin Phillips to Sergio Gomez, which was really good. Finds Sergio Gomez, struggles to bring it underneath. Sergio Gomez has gone down, holding his back. Newcastle trying to bring it forward, but they're still in their own half. Jacob Murphy on the ball now. Kovacic slipped there. Calvin Phillips has been caught on the ball, and here come Newcastle breaking away with Jacob Murphy, who's in on goal. First chance for Newcastle, saved by Ortega. Calvin. Good save, by the way. Trying to turn my volume down. I've accidentally turned my TV off, so bear with me while it turns back on. Good save from Ortega. Just saw the last ditch of it there. Corner to Newcastle. Joelinton on the ball. Takes it short. Jacob Murphy, edge of the area. First little moment from Newcastle, right on half-time as well. Tonali dinks it back post all over everybody. 3 Newcastle players in space as well. Was a little bit of sloppiness, I agree, section 20. Good save. Good save from Ortega with his foot, knocking it out. I'm not sure it really was. I need to see that again because I think it was fired into Calvin Phillips, and I think the Joelinton read the pass more than Calvin Phillips giving away, because I looked away for a split second and all of a sudden I saw Calvin Phillips on the floor and Joelinton had clearly just won the ball off him, but I actually think he was intercepted, trying to make excuses for Calvin there, but need to see it back properly. And there's Calvin Phillips doing exactly what Joelinton just did to him. Well played, Calvin Phillips. And here comes Oscar Bob into the middle. Oh, it's blocked. Kovacic was in the middle waiting, but Oscar Bob tries to find him. Well played, Calvin Phillips. Did exactly what Joelinton just did to him. Intercepting a pass right on his back. Steps in front of him. Wins the ball. Good play from Calvin Phillips. Alvarez with a nice little flick to Oscar Bob. Oscar Bob should have taken a touch there, Oscar Bob there, really. Corner, Sergio Gomez, whipped in. Back post to Guardiola, who nods it to himself, brings it down with his head and wins the corner, you'd think. And it is a corner. It went so deep from Sergio Gomez that Guardiola was backtracking and then he nods it straight up into the air so he can bring it under control because there was no other option for him. Jack Grealish with a corner on the other side of the pitch. Grealish with the corner. Whipped in. Punched by Pope. Good punch. Gomez chasing the ball. Trying to hold it up. Wins it. Keeps it. Well done, Sergio Gomez. Back to Ortega. Slowly, mind you. Ortega does well. Gets it back to Gomez. And back to Ortega. Ooh. Kovacic does well there. Really well. Really well. Running with it. Oh, no, he's lost it. He's lost it. We're in trouble. Calvin Phillips getting stuck in. Great tackle from Calvin Phillips. Love that, Calvin Phillips. Smashed Joelinton. Went right through him. But here come Newcastle. Livramento bringing it forward. Alvarez getting back in right back position. Crossed over everybody. It's going to go out for a throw-in on the other side of the pitch. This is gone against the grain, really, against the run of play. Last few minutes, Newcastle have grown, showed little signs, I stress the word little, but little signs grown into the game, showing a little bit of threat going the other way. More from City's mistakes, but there's a mistake from Newcastle, and the Tonali giving it away to Kovacic, who intercepts. Kovacic, unlucky. He found Sergio Gomez, but he couldn't bring it under his spell. I don't think Sergio Gomez wanted it quite then. Here comes Lewis Hall bringing it down the left-hand side for Newcastle. Last few minutes, end-to-end all of a sudden. Joelinton, Lewis Hall, closed down by Akanji. Never a foul. Akanji just muscles him out, but has no one in front of him. Looking for a blue shirt, gives it to Gomez. Oscar Bob, fancy footwork. Brilliant from Oscar Bob. Good footwork again from Oscar Bob there. Keep saying it. It's fun to say Oscar Bob. Oscar Bob. It's a good name to say. I'm never going to call him Bob. Just Oscar Bob. Deserves Golden Boy Award. Alvarez is playing all over. What a player, says Jan. Absolutely. Jack Grealish bringing it forward into Alvarez. Has to knock it back to Ake. Kovacic. 1 minute of injury time. 30 seconds into that. Gomez Have we got one more chance before half-time? Little dink. Rico... Oh, it's a really good idea from Sergio Gomez. Really good idea. Rico Lewis bursting into the inside channel. Gomez tries to lift it into his path, but he needed a little bit more height. It was a little bit too flat, and the spin on it took it through to Nick Pope. Harry Worthing, been impressed by Bob in this first half. Me too, mate. There's the half-time whistle. Control is the word of the half, I think. Just bear with me while I try and sort out the old clock. Yeah, so I think it's been good control. Really good control, especially in midfield. I think anything that's come through from Newcastle, I say that like they've actually had genuine opportunities, but a lot of good interceptions here and there whenever they've looked likely to mount a counter-attack and nullified that really quickly. Grealish has seen a lot of the ball. He's definitely doing what Pep's asking him to. I know City fans, and me included, will want to see him try something a little bit differently. You know, try and beat his fullback. But I think he's done all right. You know, he's done okay. I think Gomez has been okay. Calvin Phillips, a couple of sloppy passes, but a couple of good moments as well, you know. And I'm going to put those sloppy moments down to nerves, overthinking, worried about making a mistake. And when you're worrying about making a mistake, you make a mistake, don't you? Players that don't make mistakes aren't thinking about not making a mistake. It's the confidence you have. And I feel for him a little bit, because I do feel like this is the game where the nerves are going to be the highest. Wolves is going to be a game where it's like, right, come on, I can really prove myself now. Hopefully he gets 90 minutes today, get another 90 minutes against Wolves, and then maybe he can have a new lease of life, breathing fresh confidence into his game, going into that Arsenal game, which is what we need. We need him. We can't have Jack Grealish making mistakes like this in this half, because you give the ball away, even though we weren't punished, and they weren't even in dangerous positions. They did offer Newcastle a way out, a way to counter-attack. And if you do that against Arsenal, they will mount a counter-attack and a genuine threat. So we do need to be mindful of those little tiny mistakes. But there were good things from Calvin Phillips as well. Grealish feels half asleep. Renderex travels. I think that's the way he plays the game, mate. Buggan's livid now I've said that. But love it, Calvin. Buggan said there, further up in the chat. Yeah, I think he's been all right. You know, Oscar Bob for me has been quite good. I say quite good, very good, very good. You know, really nice footwork. Couple of moments he was caught in little pockets of space, surrounded by 2 or 3 Newcastle players, and he worked his way out of it. He's got a bit more freedom than I've ever thought he'd be given. You know, he's drifting inside, that inverted winger role almost. He's not even the inverted winger, he's in the Alvarez role. He's not, because Sergio Gomez and Grealish, neither of them are inverting, so it isn't a... This is the last season system, basically, what we're doing, where you'd see the right back, which is normally Rico Lewis. Last season it was Rico Lewis as right back and John Stones right back, but that was on paper. Start the game, whistle goes, they tuck inside and become a double pivot. Rico Lewis is doing that today. He's playing it inside alongside Calvin Phillips, and Kovacic is given a little bit more of a license. He's quite left of the pitch, Kovacic, so he's double teaming Livramento and trying a lot of teamwork with Jack Grealish. So Kovacic and Grealish are trying a bit of link-up play. It's not coming off, but those two are seeing a lot of each other. But yeah, we're not seeing the inverted winger this game, which we've been seeing a lot earlier into the season. Now it's Gomez and Grealish who are both staying wide, which is, I'm fine with it, because we're familiar with it. We spent all last season, or the majority of last season, playing this way. So, and we look in control of the game. You know, we really do. You're just wondering who's going to come on. Bring Doku on for Grealish, Jamal says. Bring Foden, maybe, says Matty. I think Foden is protection now, isn't it? I think because he has picked up a few injuries lately, hasn't he? We can't afford to lose Foden right now. And Bernardo Silva is potentially back for Arsenal. I've heard even maybe for Wolves, which would be good, because they did say 2 or 3 weeks, didn't they? So in 2 weeks would make it the Wolves game just, but I imagine he probably won't be rushed back for the Wolves game because they probably want to save him for the Arsenal game. But Julian will score, relax, says Big Morgan. Good to see you, mate. Darren, good to see you. I've spoke to you already, actually, haven't I? But other than a goal, we were superb. I agree. Sweet. I'm not going to. You're not going to what? I'm so curious. Only one shot on target so far, says Nick. Is that true? Yeah, I need to sort that out. I mean, to be fair, that Alvarez chance, that was a proper chance. We're seeing right now, we're about to see some Alvarez chances. Oscar Bob. Of course, Oscar Bob sent him through, didn't he? That was the one saved by Nick Pope. That was the best chance, and that was going in the bottom corner. Stretched foot from Nick Pope. Good save. I think if he got a little bit of height on that, just a little bit, hip height, not top corner, but a little bit more height, and that's probably in. But we're about to see the second Alvarez chance, which was Kovacic with a good bit of play. Oh no, it wasn't. It was Kovacic to Oscar Bob, who tucks it first time into Alvarez's path, but he was sent really down towards the byline, so he was forced into quite an acute angle. But you still expect him to hit the target there, really. Left foot from Alvarez. Oh, John, mate. Totally disagree, John. That was awful, City. So much dominance, so poor. Poor KP has got to go. Grealish is not fit. And just bone idle. Douglas, that the first 35 minutes were an example of how to make it almost impossible for a pressing team to get at us. Yeah, I agree. I don't think they could. They didn't have a sniff. But what makes you think we were poor, John? Because in terms of control, yeah, but in terms of chances, even then I don't think we were poor, because we had probably created enough to go 1-0 up. Alvarez just didn't have his shooting boots on in those two situations. One of them goes in. We're talking about a very good first half performance. I think you're being a bit harsh on Calvin Phillips, because I think he's not had much time. There's been a couple of moments where he was caught on the ball, but I also think he's been good. I thought he's been pretty good. Yeah, but Phillips hasn't created one chance, has he, Amber? It's not his job. It's not his job. His job is to protect the back four, keep the midfield ticking, keep the ball, don't give it away, intercept when you can, pass it to the creative players who can create chances, and make sure you when you're spraying the ball diagonally, you're accurate with your balls. Don't give it away. You know, I mean, if you're expecting him to come onto the pitch and play like Rodri, you're going to feel let down by any football team you watch, unfortunately, because there is no one in the world right now that is doing what Rodri can do. No one. There is no defensive midfielder out there that is doing what Rodri can do. You know, Arsenal just going to spend 105 million on Declan Rice. Are you seeing him create the chances? Are you seeing him getting forward and scoring goals to the level of Rodri's standard? You know, last minute against Sheffield United, whipping one into the bottom corner the other day. You know, Champions League final. You know, he's the greatest midfielder in the world. And now I think a lot of why the hate towards Calvin Phillips is because of Rodri. Because the standards now are so high that I think we're being very unrealistic with what we expect from Calvin Phillips. We do need to be realistic that there is a good player there. I agree he's not proven himself yet. There is plenty of question marks, and I can see why people are concerned about Calvin Phillips. But he's not had a run in the team. You know, he got injured last season in a bloody charity friendly against Barcelona in a charity money-making friendly for a good cause. But you do question the timing of it. Phillips started that game and he was having a blinder against Barcelona in that friendly, and it was quite competitive. He ends up getting his shoulder injured, didn't he? And he's out for like 4 months. So we can't judge him on last season when a player's been out for 3 or 4 months. He had 600 minutes to his name last season. But I am not a Phillips fan in the sense of I think he should be playing at every game. There is middle ground between Phillips as a Manchester City starting 11 player and get him out of our club. There is so much middle ground between those two opinions as far as I'm concerned, and I'm smack in the middle. And I think most City fans will probably be in the middle. They want him to do well, they want him to prove himself, but they've not seen enough yet, but give him time. Let's see, because now is a real opportunity for him. 3 games later, when Rodri's back from his suspension, we can talk more seriously about Calvin Phillips' future in a Manchester City shirt, because right now it's harsh to just say get out. I think it really is. Gomez on the wing is not clinical, says Vinny. Yeah, I'm not Gomez's biggest fan, and I have seen enough of him. Last season he got double what Calvin Phillips got, but going forward I like Gomez. He can be creative. That little stint he came on against Fulham, small little cameo, got himself an assist. I remember the assist that he got for Haaland in the 6-3 against United at the Etihad last season. Gomez came on down that left-hand side, played really well. I don't ever want to see him defend though. I think he's just awful defender. He cannot defend, and we've signed him as a left-back. And I think Vincent Kompany did us dirty there, because he was like, I've seen this lad, he's good, really good, sign him up. So he did as a left-back. Played him left-back, and he can't defend the back post. He just cannot do it. He just doesn't have the defensive awareness. You're almost born with that defensive awareness. Similar how attackers are born with that killer instinct in the box, that Haaland instinct. You know, you're born with a lot of these things. You know, some of it can be trained, I suppose, but there is a level of instinct involved in football. And Gomez has no defensive instinct whatsoever, but he's got a very technical left foot. I agree with what you're saying, though, today, though. He hasn't really offered that much going forward. A nice attempted ball to Rico Lewis, but he did overhit it. Rendrex, we're looking very slick. And, yeah. Mpoom saying to Mbk, it's not his job to create chances. Look to cover and Gomez for that in this match. Echoing what I said really there, yeah. I agree. Shanti, Rodri is a holding midfielder. He creates chances. So why can't Phillips? Because he's the best defensive midfielder in the world. That's why. Because he's just a remarkable player. You know, it's not their job. You know, it isn't their job at the end of the day. And if you're coming into a game and expecting your defensive midfielder to be getting assists, I don't know what to say to you really, because that's not the role of a defender. The clue is in the name, in a defensive midfielder. You know, he's playing in that role for a reason. It's to be solid and protect the back four. That's your priority. Yes, when we have the ball, step forward, get the creative players in the ball, and maybe, yeah, create a chance here and there if the opportunity presents itself. But he's had 45 minutes. Are you expecting him to create chances in 45 minutes of football away at St James's Park? You know, he did get on the edge of the box. He had a shot, and he was blocked. So, who else is not creating chances? I haven't seen Kovacic create that many chances in this 45 minutes. So, if we're going to judge players on 45 minutes, let's do it fairly, because who else has created chances? Oscar Bob. He's set up Alvarez twice. Other than that, no one. The 2 chances that are genuine goal-scoring opportunities in this game both came from Oscar Bob. So you're putting Kovacic up against Calvin Phillips in terms of chance creation. I haven't seen Kovacic do it, and I know he will over the course of the season, but you're talking about this 45 minutes. You're judging Calvin Phillips on this 45 minutes, whereas like you're giving Kovacic a free pass. I don't think that's fair. We need to judge everyone by the same standards, really. If I speak about Grealish, sigh, says Janelle. Buggan, seeing some brain dead takes from some of these City fans in the chat. I wouldn't call it brain dead, but I disagree with some of them. Yeah, you know, I do disagree with some of the takes, but it's good. That's what it's all about. I want to hear the opinions. I'm quite open to hearing outside the box thinking. I'll give my take on it, and I want to hear your take on it. I'm not going to tell you... is it too low? Sorry, Big Morgan saying the volume too low. I'm sure you've said that before. And then everyone else says, no, it's fine. Let me see if I can do something about it. Is the volume okay for everybody? Let me have a look. This is where I end the stream accidentally, isn't it? All your fault, Big Morgan. Okay for me. Okay here. Good, I'll leave it then. Sorry, Big Morgan, you're going to have to turn it up if you can, mate. I'll try and bring the mic a little bit closer, see if that helps. But I don't want to blow your ears off. How's that? That's, yeah. Most people are okay for the volume. Good. You can hear me clearly. Good, good, good. Chelsea 1-0 up at Brighton. Arsenal 1-0 at Bournemouth. 2-0 up against Stoke. Blackburn 4. Cardiff 2. Fulham 1. Norwich 0. Lincoln 0. West Ham 0. Liverpool have equalised against Leicester. And it's 0-0 here at St James's Park. What are you thinking second half? What are your predictions? Substitutions will be interesting. What is Pep going to do? I imagine he's going to keep it the same for at least another 10 minutes. Jeff's prediction for a 1-0 Kovacic goal. He very wisely didn't give the minute this time, whereas last time he did. He was he gave the time period and he got that right as well, which is ridiculous. But Kovacic's first goal, oh dear, Newcastle making substitutions. Bruno Guimaraes and Anthony Gordon coming onto the pitch. That's not good news. This is bad news. I think Doku should come on for Grealish. He hasn't been that good, says PUBG Gaming. I think Doku at some point will be coming on. I wouldn't be surprised if it's for Gomez though. But set piece goal, Sweets predicting. Honest first half review, Calvin Phillips has impressed me so far. Josko has been phenomenal. Bob with the turns. Just needs to be more clinical. Dead Tomo, just click the like button. Yes, please, if you don't mind. Thank you very much. Rendrex Travels. If we play the same way, we will score 2. Haaland comes on. Jan still predicting 3-1 City. Here come the boys in blue. Looks like no substitutions. So yeah, Anthony Gordon and Guimaraes. That's worrying. It's Miley and Hall coming off. 2 inexperienced players coming on for 2 very informed players. Newcastle winning 8-0 at the weekend as well. I don't know how I've not mentioned that yet so far. Kickoff is about to start. Isak standing above the ball. And we're off. Second half underway. I think you might be right. Section 20. It could bode well. If Newcastle open up, we'll do better. Potentially. Potentially. Because so far they've offered very little, haven't they? Ake doing fantastically well. Jacob Murphy showing a clean pair of heels there to Nathan Ake with the speed that he's got. I did mention that he's got speed. He showed it there. He beat Nathan Ake to the ball, but Nathan Ake kept him at the corner flag. Doing well. And the last time we went to a corner flag straight after the second half whistle, ended up in a Rodri red card, didn't it? So thank God that didn't just happen. Jeff saying it was hard to tell whether it was Sheffield United or your lads' team. Yeah, that was unfortunate. You know, they got 8 goals, Newcastle, but from 8 different... Phillips has lost the ball to Isak. He won the ball back and then lost it again. It was a good tackle originally from Phillips, but then Isak tackled him back. Kovacic bringing it forward. Knocks it out to Grealish on the left. A little bit more open. Section 20 might be right there. Newcastle having a bit more space there. Grealish looking to knock it back. Was there any other outcome? Kovacic whips it over the bar. Let's freaking go, baby. Ida with the fire emojis. Flaming in the chat. Africano, it's fine. Exactly, Newcastle bringing on attacking players should make things easier, says Nick Knack. I hope you're right. You just got to be mindful the other way, haven't we? We've got to be careful the other way. That's the issue. Oscar Bob bringing it forward. Down the right-hand side. Into Calvin Phillips. Knocks it to Alvarez. Poor touch from Alvarez. Tonales bringing it forward. Jacob Murphy overlap. Nathan Ake to deal with him. Is he going to? One-on-one. He's got an overlap. He's beating him. Livramento, back post. Oh, Tonale. Who was that blocking that brilliant bit of work, whoever that was? Who was that? Calvin Phillips. Brilliant block. Cut back to the penalty spot. Calvin Phillips was there to block Tonale's effort. Newcastle looked much better. Much, much better. Tonali, Isak, Akanji's in front of him. Good play from Akanji. Oh, he's asking for a foul. He's not going to get it. Isaac's won it back into the penalty area. Akanji steps in. Brilliant. Good bit of play from Akanji. Newcastle have come out firing, winning the ball back. Ref's letting a lot of things go in. I quite like that. Joelinton into the cross over the top of everybody, thankfully. Ref's letting a lot of things go. In the first half, he was doing the same. A couple of fouls that some refs might have given. But I like that. Letting it flow. Do you know what? I've seen a little bit of animosity between Pep Guardiola and Eddie Howe. Not only in Newcastle versus City, but who remembers that 98th minute winner from Raheem Sterling away to Bournemouth? Like second game of the season, like 4 seasons ago. It might have been our 100-point season. Pep turned and went like that in Eddie Howe's face. I think those two are having a go at each other, and I think there's a bit of history between those two on the touchline. Alvarez into Oscar Bob. Tries to knock it back. Bit overly audacious there. Doesn't come off. Alvarez tracking back. Rico Lewis tracking back against Anthony Gordon. Akanji steps in. Newcastle going for this. They're going for this. Gordon with a crunching tackle on Kovacic. And the St. James's Park go wild. Yeah, we're in a game now. This is totally different second half. Pattern of play so far has completely shifted. Grealish doing his usual step across the ball, wait for the touch, and goes down. Good, because we need to kill this game. There was a bit of momentum building there from Newcastle, and Jack Grealish does what Jack Grealish does best, winning free kicks. Long ball over the top to Sergio Gomez, overhit, through to Nick Pope. Looks like Howe gave them a rollicking at half-time. Possibly, yeah. I think there's just a little change has worked wonders, hasn't it? Anthony Gordon and Guimaraes, and yeah, the momentum has changed. They seem to actually want to try and win the game, because that first half, I think the perfect example was that time the referee, oh, Calvin, what have you done? Calvin's giving it away. Joelinton's nicked it off him. Gives it to Isaac. Isaac's shepherded by Gvardiol. 1-2. Ake steps in. Calvin has got to avoid those moments. We've seen 2 good bits of play from Calvin Phillips in this half and 2 sloppy bits of play. Same as the first half. He's got to get that consistency. Bring Kyle on, says Tuna. I think the whole system would change if Kyle came on. Because Rico Lewis... Actually, no, he's not inverted at all. And I think that's why Calvin's struggling. I haven't seen us with the ball yet. We're 6 minutes into this second half and we haven't strung 5 or 6 passes together yet. So it's hard to say whether Rico Lewis is inverted in that double pivot role and sitting alongside Phillips, because without the ball, the rule is for the second double pivot, like John Stones or Rico Lewis, has to get back into that right back position in more of a traditional back four. And so far, Rico Lewis is playing right back, which means Calvin Phillips is on his own. Joelinton, edge of the area, he's knocking it past everybody. Ake's in there. Back post, got to be a goal. How is it not? It's a goal. 1-0 Newcastle. Isaac back post. It's been coming. It's been coming. Started the second half sloppy. City have started really sloppy, and Newcastle have started on fire. Those two changes, just a swing in momentum. Joelinton just bursting through. Ake tries to do his best. Cross comes in from Joelinton, who's working his way into the penalty area. Drills it across the face of the goal. Isaac, back post, has that much time. He can take a touch and then put it into an empty net. 1-0 Newcastle. Oh, Rico. Looking at it. Rico's let it go. He left it. He has to do something there. He has to assume there's someone behind him. Rico let it go under his legs. He's left it. I don't know what Rico's thinking there. I know he's trying to avoid making it an own goal, but just away. Just get a touch on it that's attempting to get it away. He genuinely just left it. So Isaac just went, oh, thanks, and controls it and taps it into an empty net. Now we need to wake up, says Jan. Totally different feel to this second half, isn't it? Incredible turnaround in terms of pattern of play. Crunching tackles coming in again. Rico Lewis has just been flattened fairly. He's got the Newcastle fans on their feet. Pep slumped in his chair, looking a bit dejected. Right, well, we can do our thing as well, you know. We can send fear factors. We've got players that can send genuine fear factors into the Newcastle system. That's a foul. Jack Grealish brought down. Imagine the Newcastle feelings now, you know. You see, just holding up the board, number 9, Erling Haaland. Doku, number 11, coming onto the pitch. Let's see how they feel then. But I don't think Pep will do it this early. I think he'll wait till at least the 60th minute. He's got to be mindful of the future games coming up. Minutes, you know, it's important. We can't be risking injuries. Akanji, oh, Isaac's won the ball back, and I hate it when you see opposition players do that, like firing up the crowd because he won a tackle. This is a totally different team that's come out this second half in both ends of the pitch. Very true, section 20. We're not unfamiliar to going 1-0 down. Just need to... Oh, they're in again. Newcastle, sloppy. Isaac's in. Blocked by Guardiola. Good bit of defending from Guardiola there, but Phillips nodding it straight to a Newcastle player, I think, looking at this. It was Kovacic, sorry. Kovacic with a poor header. Isaac's in again. Guardiola steps across in the 6-yard box and blocks the shot. Corner to Newcastle. Tonali whips it in. Cleared by Alvarez near post. Haaland and Foden have been sent to warm up. Tonali brings it down on the left wing. Oscar Bob dealing with Anthony Gordon, trying to flick it on, knocking it past him. Miscontrolled by Joelinton, throw into City. There's Haaland warming up. He looks agitated. There's Walker also warming up. Rico Lewis throws it in. Phillips, space in front of him. They look totally different. This pressing from Newcastle is completely different. I think you're right, whoever it was who said he's giving them a rollicking. Because I think you're right, there is a different in attitude as well. It's not just systems and players that have changed. Attitude seems totally different from Newcastle. Here they come again. Livramento down the line to Jacob Murphy, into the byline, dealt with by Guardiola, pushing him away. Gets him back to the touchline. Livramento inside. Guimaraes faced up by, tries a no-look pass to Jacob Murphy. Crossed into Jacob Murphy, back post over everyone's head. Joelinton was waiting but couldn't get underneath it. Out for a throw into City. Target couldn't keep it in. Guardiola bringing it forward. Phillips. Newcastle retreating a little bit. The press has stopped. Good. Because that press was worrying. Grealish. Back to Ake. One of these days, the next word after Grealish isn't going to be back. Still 30 minutes left, brother. What your final score prediction? Well, I'm still on. My prediction at the start of the game was 1-1, City win on penalties. So I'm still on. I think quite a few people are on, to be honest. A lot of 3-1s and 2-1 City. There was it Jay's Killer who predicted 1-0 Newcastle, so he's on. Or she's on. Kovacic's bringing it down. Phillips, sorry. I keep getting mixed up between Phillips and Kovacic. They look the same from a distance. Same colour of hair. Can't really miss this. When you see the little ponytail, isn't it? That's when you realise who's who. I've seen some people celebrating the idea that we've gone 1-0 down and laying the blame with Calvin Phillips shanty up there. So Phillips is a defensive midfielder then. Why did he not block the pass and jog back? Pathetic. No one can tell me swapping Phillips for Nunes would not be an improvement. I don't know. You need to be mindful of the treatment of our players. You know, I'm all for Jesus. Kovacic. Is that Kovacic giving the ball away? But let's blame Phillips, shall we? Look at that. Successful passes in the final third. Who remembers the stat I gave you? The last time it was read out, it was 81 for City in the final third, 1 for Newcastle. So far, 20 for Newcastle, 6 for City. Completely shifting momentum. 60 minutes in, we've got to get some subs on now, I think, to really have an impact on this game, because there is nothing in terms of creativity. We were quite short on chances in the first half. There was an opportunity to go 1-0 up with Alvarez, but so far, this first 15 minutes has been poor, to be polite. Lewis was brought down there, free kick to City. Darren is fuming. Mad Hat, I love Pep, but this injury issue is highlighting the trade-off of a small squad versus a larger one. Yeah. We had a few disagreements, didn't we? Nice disagreements in the summer transfer window. I think you were very keen to sign more players. I remember you. But yeah, no, I know what the point is. It is hindsight, isn't it? Though hindsight is a wonderful thing, but I don't think the squad is to blame. I still think the fixture list's to blame, because we're not the only squad that's suffering. But yes, I understand what you're saying. But Pep clearly wants to train with a certain amount of players. You know, he feels like a smaller group, he can get his message across to the players in training easier with smaller squad and a better understanding. And not only that, players that can play multiple positions. Isak's going off here, by the way, I need to tell you, but wouldn't be too happy about it, because Jack Grealish's arch nemesis is coming onto the pitch. Almiron. Almiron is on. Sub 2, good to see you, mate. Long time left, lads. Coming in with his cool and calm, collected mind state there to relax us all. Thank you very much, Sub 2. PUBG Gaming. With the subs we will do a Liverpool on Newcastle. Yeah, we've got 11 men as well. Gomez trying to whip it into Alvarez. Cleared. That's the first attempt at anything, really, in that first half. Ball boy booting it off Rico Lewis then, being a bit of a little shit. Lucky he wasn't Eden Hazard. But yeah, I know what you're saying, Mad Hatter. All good, Johnny, and I get that Pep wants smaller group, but there's always a trade-off for everything that we do. Got to take the rough with the smooth, right? Absolutely, mate. It's hindsight, isn't it? It's, lovely from Oscar Bob. Brought down by Joelinton. Foul. Get the yellow out, ref. I think that's time now. Joelinton's about 4th or 5th foul now. It's not that bad a foul as an individual foul, but in terms of numbers, that's about his 5th one now. Oscar Bob, beautiful bit of skill. Yeah, get him in the car. Get him in the book. How many times? There's Pep asking for it as well. Eddie Howe and Pep arguing. There you go. I told you. There's a little bit of tastiness between the two. Bob needs more minutes, says Ryan. Good to see you, Ryan. I agree. I've really rated Oscar Bob so far. I think he's been our best player in this game. I think Guardiola's been decent as well. Nothing he could have done about the goal, Guardiola, but anything that's come his way, he's dealt with it. Free kick to City, right out on the right-hand touchline. Alvarez over it. Right foot, out in swinger. Oh, Akanji headed it. Is it cleared? No, it's corner. Akanji got underneath it, looking to head it. I think the block came in from Lascelles, gone out for a City corner. What's going on there? We're taking a shot. I looked away for a second and Newcastle is suddenly on the break. Akanji stepping in. Oh, and Grealish and Akanji have just collided with each other. Foul from Guardiola. Akanji has been booked. Darren, twat him, Pep. Plenty of time to turn this round. Jack Grealish and Akanji getting stuck with each other there. That's not a yellow card, referee. It's not a yellow card. He's not even going towards towards our goal. He's going sideways. And yet Joelinton has committed about 6 or 7 fouls and he's walking fine, no problem. Joke. The ref's been alright, you know. He's let things go. And that was a foul, probably just, but it's not a yellow. Calvin Phillips with a crunching tackle. He's absolutely nailed him. That could be a VAR one, that, because Newcastle have ran to the referee. Phillips is connected with his really high here. He's going for a card. It's a yellow for Calvin Phillips. And I wouldn't be surprised if VAR have a look at this, because the Newcastle players saw something. They sprinted to the referee as soon as that tackle went in. Let's have another look. No, it's not a yellow. It's not a red. It's his foot. He landed on his foot. No, it's a yellow. It's a tough. It's an orange. Definitely not a red. There is no VAR, is there not? That's surprising. Ball into the box from Newcastle, cleared by Guardiola. Down the line to Tonali. Oh, Guardiola got a touch on it and he nearly sent it into his own goal, just past Ortega's post. Is that true? There's no VAR? I thought the VAR was included in the League Cup, especially at Premier League grounds, or is it not? No VAR. Multiple people saying no VAR. It's, don't know whether I'm happy about that or not. It depends, doesn't it? That's the thing with VAR. It's like this, the circumstantialness of it. It's situational, isn't it? Short corner from Murphy into the feet of target. Murphy, oh, he's done him. Back post, crossed over the head of everybody, thankfully. Really sloppy defending at that short corner. You send 2 out, short corner, 2 of you, got to go out. We sent 1 out, and it's 2-on-1 immediately, and we got beaten. And Jacob Murphy's sprinting down the byline. Luckily, he overhits it. Here come the substitutions. Núñez, Doku coming onto the pitch. Number 6 coming off. So off comes Nathan Ake for Mateus Núñez, which means Sergio Gomez is going in defence, doesn't it? That's what that means. Shit. Let's get behind him, but I'm a bit worried. I can't pretend I'm not worried. Ooh. Doku on. Kovacic off. Phillips retains his place, to the disappointment of quite a few of you in the chat, no doubt. 180 in the building so far. 86 likes. If you could drop a like on the stream, it would do wonders for me. Please do. Take it all together, in my opinion. Hasn't done anything but ruin the game. Ryan, you're talking about VAR, presumably. Yeah, I think it's... yeah, there goes your prediction, Jeff. Oh, yeah, you blocked. I forgot. I promised you. You blocked, Jeff. You're finished. No, I'm joking, buddy. Newcastle are in. Gordon. Oh, good defending from Akanji. Núñez trying to bring it forward. Lovely touch. That's a foul, referee. Fucking hell, ref. Good touch from Núñez there. Beats his man brilliantly. And a yellow card's been dished out, I think, to... who was it? Target or Anthony Gordon? I don't know. But Núñez was brought down. Handled. Bring on the first team, says Gamification. Jack Grealish knocks it down to Núñez, full of energy, being chased by Tonali down the left wing. Knocks it ahead. Ah, he's unlucky. Shows a good bit of speed there. It was Guimaraes who's been booked. No VR until the semis, because they're played at Wembley. So no matter who gets there, this will be VAR facilities. I think that's fair. I think that's really fair. Because, you know, it's not fair that Lincoln, who are playing West Ham, clearly don't have VAR, might get punished by some offside that was onside or onside that was offside, whatever it may be. Yet here we are in a Premier League venue, having all the decisions, I say rectified. They should be rectified. Sometimes they're not. But, you know, the point I'm trying to make is I think that's fair. I presume they do the same in the FA Cup. I think it's Haaland time now, 70th minute. That'll put the shits up Newcastle, won't it? You'll probably hear the groans from Newcastle fans when they hear it. Haaland should have played today, says Little Fruity. Haaland and Foden have to come on, say Jan. Doku in, says Gamification. He's in, mate. Latest scores so far: Villa 1, Everton 2, Blackburn 5, Cardiff 2, Bournemouth 2, Stoke 0, Brentford 0, Arsenal 1, Chelsea 1, Brighton 0, Fulham 2, Norwich 1, West Ham beating Lincoln 1-0. Liverpool have turned it round against Leicester. It's 2-1 to Liverpool. Gomez is left back, but he's inverting by the looks of it with Rico Lewis. I hate this back four now. I hate it. Rico Lewis and Sergio Gomez in the back four. It's not because of Rico Lewis's defensive ability. I like it. It's just... inexperienced is one factor, but you're asking them both to invert. So we've basically got 2 at the back now of Akanji and Gvardiol. Cameras zoom into Phil Foden's face, who's taken his bib off but still got his top on. Haaland looks like he's not coming on because he's got his bib on. He looks chilled and relaxed, like he hasn't been told anything. Ooh, Guimaraes has just been whacked with the ball, but it made his ankle go a bit funny. Sergio Gomez chasing back Livramento, does well, knocks it out for a throw. Good play from Sergio Gomez. Always said he was a fantastic left back. Always said it. Rico Lewis to tie it up. New prediction from Jeff. Ooh, Jeff, what you doing? PS4 Gaming, Haaland. That's it. I haven't seen Doku get the ball yet. There he is, trying to close his man down. Knocked out. Newcastle have lost their momentum. The injury to Isak's done a bit of damage to them. They are not the same team they were in that first lovely turn by Nunes. Another foul. Guimaraes, who's booked, by the way, has just been... Nunes was turned. How has Akanji been booked? That's what frustrates me, is the consistency. Nunes just spun Guimaraes then. This is the almost identical foul that he made before, which he got booked for. Akanji brings down whoever it was trying to break on him, and he wasn't even going towards goal. He was going sideways. Akanji gets booked. That was a yellow card. But because he's already been booked, it's like, I won't give it because I'll have to give a red, which is nonsense. Nonsense refereeing. I hate that. Alvarez off, Foden on. He's got to be going false 9 now, surely, Foden. Surely. Because now we've not got a striker. Nunes has looked really crisp since he's come on. Really, really crisp. Everything he's done has looked nice and sharp. Long ball over the top from Akanji was poor. Back to a false 9, says Buggan. I agree. I think that's what we're going to... Well, what's the option? What's the alternative? There you go. That's what I love. You see Pep there going, Manu! Manu! As in Manuel Akanji shouting him, because it was a poor ball from Akanji, but the idea was good, and he shouts, Manu, Manu, and then goes... like that, as in good try. That's exactly what you should be doing. So Oscar Bob is... No, it's Foden. I was just going to say, I think Oscar Bob's gone up front, but... Oh, Rico Lewis has been passed. Nunes has been passed. Gomez with another good tackle from Sergio Gomez, and shoulder to shoulder, does well, gives Newcastle the throw-in. Good bit of play from Sergio Gomez, and... yeah, making my words look stupid in terms of being able to defend, because he's so far 2 opportunities to defend, and he's done well. It's in the box, though. That's when I want to see Gomez defending. Back post, crosses. You know, awareness of what's behind you. We've already seen Rico Lewis showing a lack of that. Awareness of what's behind you. The ball going fired across goal. I know what he's trying, Rico Lewis, in that situation. Avoiding scoring an own goal, obviously, but you're better off doing something than nothing in that situation. Nunes bringing it forward. Jack Grealish right on the byline, down the left-hand side. Cuts inside to Livramento. Jack Grealish has got to shoot. Shoots straight down the throat of Nick Pope. Good from Jack. Good. Like to see it. Cutting inside, having a shot. It's fine. Straight down Nick Pope's throat, but I'm alright about that. I'm not bothered. It's fine. Easy to save, but it's the intent is what I like. Pep might disagree. But we're in a different game now. We're 1-0 down. No, I agree, Nick Nack. He isn't going to score from there. It takes a worldie to score from there, doesn't it? But it's just something different from Jack Grealish is nice to see. Akanji, long ball to Rico Lewis with Foden and Doku ahead of him. 1-2 between Foden and Rico. Doku's first touch of the game. Passes it back to Phillips. Nunes. 15 minutes to go. Can we scrape an equaliser? Nunes. Fouled by Tonali. He's been fouled about 5 times now. Holds his hands in the air like, how many times, referee? Sky just put a stat on the board, fewest touches in this game, and they put Doku on it with 1 touch. He's been on about 5 minutes, yeah, so the ball's not reached him so far, yeah, fine, but Grealish with a lovely touch to Nunes, really nice touch. Nunes on the left side, onto his right foot, tucks it to Oscar Bob. Nunes, looking for options. Phillips needs to be quicker, knocks it back to Gvardiol. Gvardiol pressured. Sergio Gomez gives it away. Almiron, still in the Newcastle half. Gets it back to target, or Dummett rather. Anthony Gordon beats Rico Lewis. Knocks it down to Almiron. 1-on-1 with Guardiola. Newcastle are in. Oh, back post overhit, thankfully. Rico Lewis was there, though. Jacob Murphy was waiting, but just overhit. Jacob Murphy picks up the loose pieces. Joelinton into target. Phillips clears it. Lascelles bringing it forward. No one closing him down. Get in front of him. Sergio Gomez has gone down. Guimaraes is the man who's caused it. And they come down our right wing with our left back injured. Fucking jokers, man. Absolute joke. Bringing that. They just stood on Sergio Gomez's foot. And yet now he's gone down and then they come down that right-hand side. I don't think he meant it, in fairness. I don't think he meant it. Maybe a bit harsh, but still. To come down the side where you've just injured that player and then cross it in. Where's your sportsmanship? Pep's getting booked, clearly, because the... what's the name's rep? What's this guy's name again? Is it Craig Dawson? He's being snitched on. Pep's being snitched on by the fourth official. The fourth official was like, he said this, and then he said this, and then he told me to go fuck myself. And then the guy comes over and gives him, right, I'll book him. And Pep's like, yeah, I did say all that. Pep doesn't care. He got booked in the last game as well, didn't he? We need to have... How many bookings do you need as a manager to get suspended? Target with the corner. Whipped in. Back post. Headed in. Oh, cleared off the... almost off the line by Guardiola. Knocked back into the danger zone by Joelinton. Newcastle still with the ball, but they're going backwards. All the way back to Nick Pope now. Foden's the only man chasing. Oscar Bobson up. Doku's up. Long ball over the top. Sergio Gomez with no one near him. Back towards the corner flag. Jacob Murphy closing him down. Keeps it simple. Plays it back to Ortega. Back to Gomez. Yeah, that's right, Tuna. But how many... Do managers get suspended? Because I know players are not... They get a one-game ban, don't they? Before Christmas, isn't it? If they get 5 yellow cards, you get a one-game ban. But don't they clean the slate after Christmas, after January? I'm sure that's the rule. But what's the rule for managers? Juan Melillo red card, I reckon that's going to come up. He's just going to flip. The calmest, coolest man in the world is just going to lose it all of a sudden. Come out swinging. Doku's giving it away. Anthony Gordon's breaking on him. Doku's chasing him back. Forces him back. Bit sloppy there from Doku. Oscar Bobb's our false 9, you know. He's the furthest man forward. Playing well as well. Jacob Murphy over the top to nobody. Out for a throw in. 10 minutes to go. Can we get an equaliser? Has that even gone out? No, it has just. Ortega being closed down. Oh, he clears it to Rico Lewis, who brings it down brilliantly. Fouled by Anthony Gordon, but play on, says the referee. Akanji took all the time in the world. Didn't have anyone to give it to. But he got caught on the ball, throw into City. I agree, Jan. I think they need to be mic'd. Yeah, you said it. Yeah, I didn't finish reading your comment. Refs should be made to come out in front of the cameras and answer questions on their performance, or we should be able to hear the conversation on the pitch like in rugby. The problem with the mic on the pitch is the other players, isn't it? We'd have to play all our games after Watershed. Do you know what I mean? All the games would be like beep 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 fucking twat twat twat. Oh, all swearing that the players would do. It'd get picked up on the mic. And they say it, don't they? That's what they say. They say rugby is a hooligan sport played by gentlemen, and football is a gentleman's sport played by hooligans. It's kind of true. But yeah, in terms of after the game, I agree. Yellow card for Tonale for kicking the ball away. Olympics fanatic, we are the only club in the top 5 leagues with a 100% league record this season. Is that true? Is that across the whole of Europe as well? Do you mean the UK or Europe? Nunes is in, one-on-one. Oh. He's tackled. Livramento gets back in time. The touch just wasn't quite right for Nunes, but all of a sudden, long ball over the top, and Nunes was in, one-on-one. Out of nowhere, Livramento gets across Nunes and tackles him. Just doesn't quite keep it away from the defender well enough to get himself in for a shot. Oh, that was a chance, that. Yeah, gentlemen's sport played by fairies. When I say hooligans, it's like mouthy hooligans, like their mouth. Most football fans are all mouth anyway, aren't they? None of them back up their the words that they come out with. Foden's been brought down here. Someone's Jack Grealish is getting squared up to by Joelinton. Jack Grealish doesn't want any of it. Joelinton's towering above him like, you fucking what? Fouled there by Joelinton, but he doesn't really commit. He doesn't throw a limb out or anything. He just doesn't do much there, Joelinton, to be fair. But Foden's momentum and his leg just, I think the momentum, they just came across each other. Joelinton, has he been booked? A better touch from Nunes there, and that's a big chance for him. That's a great tackle from Livramento, though. Great tackle. Free kick to City, not in a shooting position. Crossing, though. Short one taken. Jack Grealish decides to dribble with it instead. Fires it out to Doku. Left side of the pitch now, Doku. Another poor touch from Doku. Tried his little sidestep and shimmying onto his right, but it doesn't come off. Ooh. Guardiola and Ortega doing a nice bit of work there. Most tackles this match. Livramento with 7, Joelinton with 5, Nathan Ake and Akanji both with 2. And we've been done here by 15 minutes of just passion from Newcastle. Just like, I think it was Section 20 in the chat. I can't remember who it was who said it in the chat, but they got a bollocking at half-time, basically. As well as the substitutions coming onto the pitch. Guimaraes and Gordon coming on at half-time. That, accompanied by a bollocking, 15 minutes of passion from Newcastle, gung-ho, pressing, creating chances. We got done, and that's why we're 1-0 down. Since then, and since Isak's injury, it's almost gone back into control. Doku spinning Livramento into space. Tries to knock it. Oh, it's a really good idea. Just overhit. Phil Foden's run right down the middle. Doku tries to cut it right through, splitting the centre-backs of Newcastle. Doku spins his man beautifully there. Lovely bit of play. Tries to send in Foden that. Oh, such a good idea. If he slows that down, I think even Foden's like surprised that that ball was even getting through. Great vision from Doku. Just overhits it. Gomez with a nice touch. Who's done well at left back. Nadir, we're not scoring. I know it when I see it. I used to think like you, mate. There is still a little part of me that thinks like that as well, to be honest. But I used to think like that a lot more. Here's Doku, edge of the area. He's tackled, and he's brought down Almiron, who tackled him, and Doku fouled him. But yeah, no, we have to still believe, mate. We have to still believe. There've been plenty of worse situations than this that we've turned round. You know what I mean? So I'll take your prediction at this time, Johnny, says Jan. Yeah, 1-1. I predicted. Penalties. City win. Imagine. I really want to avoid saying, well, we didn't really want this anyway because of the Club World Cup. The quarterfinals are literally stepping on the toes of the Club World Cup. It was definitely going to be a problem later into the season. I don't want to think like that, though. That's not the right way to play football. Like, it's going out thinking, well, it's in the way. If it's in the way, then there's something wrong with the fixtures. It's not the tournament that means little. It's the fixtures that are the problem. The pressure that's put on the players. And that's why there are 94 Premier League players that are injured right now. You know, because it's mental how much fixtures they're put under. Oscar Bob. Who's your man of the match so far? After saying Oscar Bob, I've kind of given you a clue who I think it is from a City player point of view. Giving it Oscar Bob. Created chances, 2 in fact in the first half. Could have 2 assists if Alvarez put those 2 chances in the back of the net. So far he's brought it forward. Jack Grealish nearly brought in, poor touch from Jack Grealish there. Doku and Grealish trying to close him down. Jack's tucking inside. Núñez. City are switching it up here. Núñez turns, twisting into the area. Oh, Jack's looking a bit a frustrated figure. Foden getting back and trying to win it back. Akanji stepping in. But here comes Anthony Gordon surrounded by City players. Surely he's not coming out of this. Oh, Phillips with a great tackle, but it gets back to Anthony Gordon, who's bursting into the area. Saved by Ortega. Did that go out for a corner? I thought that did, but nearly choked then when bloody Anthony Gordon went on through. Really good tackle from Calvin Phillips, and he's just unlucky. It just ricochets back into the path of Anthony Gordon. He had no other option though, Anthony Gordon. He had to go for it there. Bob or Gvardiol for me. Section 20. This match has no meaning later on. It has meaning if we win it though, Nadir. Doesn't it? It has big meaning. And the thing is, we've got the last 10 League Cups, we've won 6 of them. And during those seasons, we've gone on to win other things as well. More often than not, when we win the League Cup, we win another cup as well. We've treated it like a springboard, a platform to go and do bigger and better things. And that's why I've never wanted to write it off. And I mean, a decade ago, we'd snap the hands off anybody to win this tournament. And now we're going to Carabao Cup. Fuck off. I don't want that trophy. Yeah, no, I don't want that trophy. Who the fuck do we think we are, honestly? City fans, got to remember, man, where we came from. Remember your roots. Doku. Into the area. Foden couldn't bring it down. I do get your point, though. I know we need to prioritise, and we do have to focus on the Champions League. I'm not saying that you're an idiot for saying that there are other priorities. But we can't just say, fuck off to the Carabao Cup. It's silly. Doku. Onto his right foot. Edge of the area. Rico Lewis. Shot! Oh, just past the post. Just past the post from Rico Lewis, and I'm talking inches. Oh. Doku doing his little shimmy. Works. Fires it across right in the middle of the edge of the area, just past the post from Rico Lewis. A bit further wide than I actually thought, to be honest. It's about 5 or 6 inches wide. Good effort from Rico Lewis. Tonali's off. Elliot Anderson on for Newcastle. Without Haaland, it's too easy for the defenders. No threat, says Ego. 6 minutes of injury time. Oh, game on. Game on. 6 minutes. Don't know where that's come from, to be honest. Hasn't been that many stoppages, has there? A few yellow cards. Surprised at that, but I'll take it. Got to make some chances, though. The little glimpses, we're definitely in the right part of the pitch. Well, right now we're not, but we had the last 5 minutes, we've definitely pinned them back a little bit better. What happened after that first half? What happened? It's a complete control, almost too easy, wasn't it? We've been lulled into a false sense of security into the second half, thinking it's going to be easy in the second half. And then they just hit us on the break, didn't it? It's like one of those con artists who plays a game of pool and is really shit for the first game purposefully, and then says, "Oh, do you want to play me? I'm rubbish. I don't really like pool." And they go, "Yeah, I'll bet you £100." And then they turn the style on, and they're just pocketing every ball after that. Newcastle have done that. They've absolutely done us here. 15 minutes of quality, and they've 1-0 up. What the fuck, City? Gvardiol knocking it down the line. Phillips, Núñez, turn around. Does. Lay it back. You're caught. Give it back. Núñez being silly. Got caught on the ball there, Núñez. Guimaraes, crunching tackle. Oh, shot from the old Joelinton, saved by Ortega. Jay's Killers. And you've come out of the woodwork and it's still, you said 1-0, mate, but plenty of time to go. Well, I say plenty of time. 4 minutes. Doku down the left-hand side, 2 players against him. Livramento and Lascelles going up against 3 eventually. Evan Anderson. You've got to help him out. Oh, we're in here. Jack Grealish. Oh, his poor touch from Grealish. No, I'm Nadir, can we actually create a chance? Yeah, it'd be nice, wouldn't it? We've had that Rico Lewis one, but other than that, you know, this stage of the game, you want to see more. Newcastle have held on really well. Long ball over the top to Foden, who's brought down there. No foul, says the referee. Not sure how that's not a foul. Foden just stood his ground and he just got flattened. How's that not a foul? He just jumps on his shoulders without any attempt to win the ball. It's a free kick on the edge of the area and potentially a red card because that's the last man. He just jumped on his back. If Phil Foden decides to stand up, he's giving him a piggyback. There's 0 attempt to win the ball. Newcastle have... I think they've got this one because I just don't think we're not looking like scoring anymore. It's... I think it's Target who's gone down, or is it Guimaraes who's gone down? Cramp, one of them, delaying the game, killing momentum. Surely they had this on, so that 6 minutes surely becomes 7 now. Target's coming off. Sorry, Dummit is coming off, not Target. Fabian Schär's onto the pitch. Martha, good to see you, Martha. Hard luck for City. Yeah. Poor second half from City. Not many chances created, says Tuna. Yeah. Phillips winning the ball off Joelinton. Can we spring one last chance? No. Back with Newcastle. Letting it trickle out for a throw-in. This second half performance reminds me of the Southampton performance last season when we got knocked out by Southampton. Was it last season? It reminds me of that performance against Southampton when we went away to Southampton and it was absolutely atrocious. But that was for 90 minutes. It was poor. But didn't we get knocked out to West Ham on penalties? Was that not last season? When was that? I'm getting mixed up in the 2 games. Away at West Ham was on penalties. That was either last season or the season before. But yeah. So this is 3rd year without a League Cup. By the looks of it. 95 minutes in. Gomez bringing it forward. Núñez trying to chase it, but he wasn't ready. Wasn't ready for it. Corner ball. That's out. Corner ball, isn't it? Oh, he's kept it in. Throw in to City. Right by the corner flag. Throws it all the way back to Sergio Gomez. And then further back to Gvardiol. Across to Akanji. Poor ball from Akanji. Intercepted. Cleared for a throw in. Deep in our own half now as well. I think that's that. Unless that substitution or the injury can add another 30 seconds, maybe. Newcastle fans are going wild over this, and why wouldn't you? You know, the stage where they're at as a club, you can understand them celebrating this as a big win. You can understand it. Shite, that is. Booted all the way out for a throw into Newcastle, deep in their half. Pep's waving the men forward. We need to focus on the next match, says David. Bit disappointing, says Mustafa. Foul, isn't it? It's a throw-in. It's a throw-in, Ortega. Give it him back. Quicker, if you don't mind. Quicker! Ref's not blown. One last chance, maybe. Rico Lewis bringing it forward. Oscar Bob. right wing. Dinked into the box. Cleared by Lascelles. Ref's looking at his watch. And he blows. Full time. 1-0 Newcastle. We're out of the League Cup. Can't say I'm not surprised, to be honest, but I'm gutted because of how well we played in that first half. I'm gutted in general, being knocked out. Of course I am, but I kind of feared the worst about this game because I knew that rotation was required. I can't say I'm not surprised at the getting knocked out, but I am gutted by that first half performance because that really was complete domination in that first half. I think Newcastle were poor in the first half, and we weren't magnificent or anything like that, but we were all right. We were controlling the game, most importantly, and we were creating the odd chance. And then 10-15 minutes of absolute chaos in the first 15 minutes of that second half, and Newcastle just ripped us to shreds, and we looked like a rabbit in the headlights for 15 minutes. Pep's screaming in the face of the referee. Needs to be careful here. He could get another yellow. Do not need him out for any suspension, especially not for the bloody Arsenal game. Keep it cool, Pep. He's walked away, thankfully. Anyway, the Mad Hatter. I'm pissed. Oh, well, lads, we can't win them all with a second half performance like that, says Section 20. 1-0, Jay's Killers. Oh, mate. Sorry I didn't get it right today. Next time, says Jeff. Thanks for the super chat, mate, for the 2. Really appreciate that, mate. You've been supporting the channel, mate, like an absolute trooper. Superstar, mate. Really, really appreciate your support. You don't have to keep doing it, mate, but thank you so much for your for another super chat. Thank you so much. Yeah, you can't win them all, Jeff. Neither can City. You know, that's the thing. Jay's Killer. Yeah, you've said it already, Jay's Killer. You calm down, mate. You got your prediction right. I know. You got it right. Well done. Ember, I'm gutted, but us not having chances. Big M, good to see you, mate. Glad we're out. Eases fixture congestion. I'm not glad we're out. I'm definitely not glad we're out, but I understand your point. That it does ease the fixture congestion, and over the course of the season, may we look back at this moment and go, who cares? You know, because we've bagged another few trophies. Could we get 2? I'd be happy with just another Premier League, to be honest. Another 4-peat, that would be incredible. And yes, getting knocked out of this would arguably makes it easier because those midweek games start racking up. Combine that with Champions League, FIFA Club World Cup, and it gets chaotic. So I get the point. I know, I understand, but still, I want to win everything. Call me selfish. Call me arrogant. Call me greedy. I do. I want to win everything. So we can't, unfortunately. Kieran, just absolutely shit in the second half. Good to see you, Kieran. Anyway, I'm going to call it. Thank you so much for joining me in the chat. This is probably one of the most popular streams I've done. I've had 200 in the building, more than I think. This is probably the most I've ever had in a stream. Little old me with 5,000 subs. And if you could drop a like, that only helps me grow. So thank you so much to everyone that has dropped a like on the stream so far. If you could, on your way out, even as a rival fan, it would be hugely, hugely appreciated. I'm going to try and squeeze in my match reaction after this. So join me for that if you can. And I will see you in the next one.